You know, I felt nervous, afraid, unaware that I was so skilled at Baldur's Gate 3 that I could conquer honor mode on my second attempt. I mean, it's hard being me. We have a lot to talk about today, my friends. My honor mode adventures, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail, Wizards of the Coast using AI art? What dark machinations? What shadows of the betrayer? I spit when I did that. Join me, my friends, on our dark Sabbath. Take your seats and enjoy. Welcome to the Just Gaming Podcast. Cast.
Oh man, good intro. Good intro.
Yeah, I spin a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. It was a 40 video. You know what I mean? We all felt it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Man, that was good. Yeah.
it's good. Hey, congrats on finishing honor mode.
I had to get that off my chest.
Yeah, well, I would too.
Yeah.
I would have been outside in the streets doing the LeBron dance, you know, fucking getting that like throwing chalk up in the air.
Yeah. So, all right, start the show as we always do, my friend. What have you been playing?
Okay. Well,
also, welcome to everybody. Welcome to the Just Gaming Podcast. Here we are again with episode 74. Thank you guys for showing. Today's going to be a great show. And Mark.
Yes, super busy week this week. So, I realized this morning that I had left my computer on all week because I hadn't even stepped into my room. So if you had been messaging me, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I got up this morning and I went ahead and did some Sekiro again. I finally got past the chained ogre. Finally got past the I didn't finally. It only took me one try to get past the big white snake.
Okay.
I know you haven't played the game, but
No,
that game's super hard. It's a super hard game. Chained ogre, I hate that guy. It's terrible. He's terrible.
Oh, so, well, I guess I'll learn eventually.
Yeah, and then I hopped over and I'm at the monastery with my Will playthrough. So
monastery with you're playing as Will.
Yeah.
Origin character playthrough. Yep. That sounds interesting. I
still
need to do that.
I'm doing one of each. I've done Gale. I'm doing Will. I think I'm gonna do Karlach next.
I started a playthrough with Cody, our friend, recently, just the other night, just a couple hours. And I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, maybe I'll play an Origin character, but then decided to make whatever. Just do my thing.
Yeah, so whatever you
make whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
So I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
I've been watching Asmongold play it, and I also have seen like the tweets. There's the I think 20 years of Monster Hunter and stuff like that, the anniversary they have that's going on, and I couldn't help it. Plus, on top of that, it was on sale on Steam for like $12 or something for the whole package, getting it and Iceborne. And Monster Hunter World's a big game. There's a lot to do, so I've been having a lot of fun playing that again. I immediately forgot how much I loved Monster Hunter World, so stepping back into it, it's just been addicting, to say the least, because it's just like, it's you have this really good balance between like just go on an expedition, go searching for materials. There's a really satisfying tone to the sound design of the game when you're like picking up items and stuff like that. So like going out and farming materials is always really fun because I just like the sound and it's really chill. And then other than that, then it's just boss fight the game and you just run around fighting bosses all the time. And I really enjoy that.
Resources to get your stuff made. Yeah,
recipes. I really enjoy that loop. Yeah, for sure. And then obviously the other thing that I was doing is I was streaming Honor Mode, Baldur's Gate 3 this week, and I beat it.
I beats that crap
and I beat it. I beat it. It was so,
you know,
and it felt so good. It felt so good. It was also kind of bittersweet because I didn't want it to end, and I felt like it's so funny because I actually felt like it went by so quickly, but the run was 72 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine a lot of your streams were super long. You know what I mean? Like you played a lot.
I need to like tone that back a bit. I think I need to try to keep the streams to like 6 hours or so instead of like, because I mean, I'm just having a good time. I'm having fun talking to people, and I'm having fun playing the game and whatnot. So for me, it doesn't really matter because I'm like, I'll look at the clock and be like, what else am I gonna do? You know, like, I'm gonna turn off the game and then play another game. Like, might as well just leave the camera and lights on and keep talking to people.
Yeah, if you're gonna be playing games, might as well if there's people in there talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I view streaming very much now as just kind of like party chat.
Yeah.
You know,
fair.
like the old school days of Xbox Live, where it was just like you and the boys in the party chat, just talking back and forth. You know what I mean? Yeah. Regardless, everybody's playing a different game or something like that. 3 people are playing the same thing. You know, a bunch of other people are playing something different. And it just makes it an overall more enjoyable experience. Plus, on top of that, the thing is that I don't have to open up my other browser for information anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, because I can just be like, I can pose a question like, oh, man, you know, what is this interaction between this item, or where can I get more elixirs of X or Y? Yeah. And then somebody in chat's just like, answer.
Over
and I'm
there.
like, dude, like, this is screw AI. I got chat.
I got chat.
I got chat.
I got a lifeline, Regis.
Yeah, it's awesome. So honor mode. I think that I'm actually going to end up making a video discussing honor mode specifically.
Okay.
Just talking about everything that I've seen with it so far. I don't know how many people here in chat. Billy with the $4.99. Thank you for the super chat. It's your 53rd birthday.
Happy birthday,
Bill. Happy birthday. Everybody in chat, tell him happy birthday.
Yeah. May you have 112 more.
112. That's a pretty oddly specific number.
Well, I'm just saying.
You don't want him to go past that?
No, 112. I think at 165 years old, you're probably ready, right? You're probably like, I'm good.
Yeah. Awkward. So I'm probably gonna do a video on my experience of playing honor mode, because after playing it, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I could ever play another mode other than honor mode going forward.
Do you think it's hard enough?
Moment to moment combat, no. But then it comes into question like whether or not it actually needs to be. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The boss fights, I would say first act, there's probably nothing that's really gonna stop you. Second act, there definitely is, but second act's also filled with a lot of optional bosses.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a lot of, you could just dialogue your way out of a lot of those fights.
Yeah, for sure.
So technically you could kind of skirt through most of Act 2, except for obviously with some other stuff. I still try to do my best to stay relatively spoiler clean, because I constantly get comments all the time of people being really happy about me not spoiling things.
Yeah, there were some things I had to turn off. Because like as many hours as I've played, we do not make the same decisions. We just don't.
Yeah.
And so I saw something that I hadn't seen before. I literally just turned the stream off.
Yeah. So I mean, as an example, so I beat honor mode and I got all the achievements. Now the funny thing is that I ended up having to have a confessional with chat at the time because I had to come out as a fraud. I had never beaten Baldur's Gate before.
What?
Yeah. What? I have 3 separate playthroughs at the final boss, but just never crossed the finish line. And that was more or less just because, well...
You fraud!
Yeah,
Get him off the show!
Yeah. So I just never crossed the finish line just because of the fact that, I mean, I'll be honest, like, there's part of me that doesn't want to do that with games. Like, I just don't want to fight the final boss because I feel like once I do, then the game is done and then I might not come back to it again. Yeah. Like the adventure, the journey, the hype, all that stuff could just kind of die in that moment that you finish the game. But yeah, this time obviously I did finish it all the way through and I beat the game, and I And you know what I did right after I beat it?
Cried a little bit.
Started another save file. Yeah.
There you
so
go. There you go.
so obviously that doesn't necessarily mean anything. You know what I mean? And there's games that I have beaten, and I have to think about that too. Like I've beaten Terraria, but I still go back and play it. And there's other games as well that are similar.
Well, it really boils down to a game's replayability, though. You know what I mean? Like Baldur's Gate to me has a lot of replayability. Terraria definitely has a lot of replayability. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure it does. But with that said, what's up, Bear? But with that said, I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I definitely think like the moment-to-moment combat could probably use like a little bit of a tune-up. Maybe just some variation, just some enemies that you wouldn't necessarily expect. They do have a couple of spots that aren't necessarily bosses, but do have like situations that happen that you're not necessarily expecting. Some fights do have enemies that have different spells or abilities that weren't available to them in Tactician or in normal mode or balanced or whatever you call it. So there is like a little bit of variety in that. I think it could probably still use like a little bit more, but I feel like we're probably going to get that stuff out of the modding community.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, for sure.
But I would actually say that honor mode, and I understand there's a lot of people here that are probably afraid to play it. I think it's the real way to play the game.
That's fair.
I feel like it's actually even though it didn't come with release, it feels like the intended way to play Baldur's Gate 3. Because one of the most unique things is that like taking save scumming completely out of the game entirely makes it where every single dice roll matters. Every choice you make matters. Because whatever, like there's no testing anything.
Yep.
And you're also kind of riding on the edge of your seat because you're like, is this roll going to pass? Is this roll going to fail? Am I going to fail this discussion? Like, as an example, like some of the bosses that you can talk out of combat in Act 2, if you fail to talk them out of combat, that means you need to fight them.
Fighting. Yeah.
Which means that you need to be prepared to fight them before you're even in that situation to begin with. And I think that's really interesting. That's a really cool dynamic to have. And it makes it a much more memorable experience, but it also makes it much more immersive because you really are gambling at that point. You don't know what direction it's going to go, and you have for the most part lost control of what story you're telling, and it's kind of just on the die. Who knows what's going to happen? You know what I mean?
I've been playing all of my playthroughs like that, to where it just is what it is. I roll it is what it is, and like that's why I haven't seen some stuff that I probably should have. But I mean, you know, I think that's just the way to play it. That's like the actual role playing the game. You know what I mean? Like I messed up this conversation with this person. That character's not dead. So
yeah. And the other thing is too is that I will say this. I'm probably gonna make I might make like a tips video or something like that. Like it might be a little bit of mix. It might be a mix of just like my experience of playing it, how I feel like it actually affects the game. How much I enjoyed it myself, and then also talk about just a few tips that I would probably try to communicate with people. But since I'm not like a guide, you know what I mean? I don't make guides and stuff like that. My brain's not really wired for that. All I can tell you is things that are going to be a little bit more abstract, just ways to think about your approach to playing honor mode in the first place. Yeah. And there were a few people in chat in my first honor mode playthrough that kind of help guide me into this thinking that when you play a game like this, we're so pre-programmed to be the main character that we completely forget about the other characters. Yeah, we'll give them good weapons and equipment that we can't use on our character or has no use on us, but outside of that, every great piece of gear that we get, we immediately give it to our character. Our character is the one that's going to be the most, the strongest at whatever it's doing. However, in my honor mode playthrough, every single character that I had was busted. Absolutely broken. My monk, disgusting. Asterion as a ranger, absolutely abhorrent. Shadowheart as a bard, and then who else did I have? And then Lae'zel as a pure fighter.
Yeah. She's dirty.
Chef's kiss. wearing some of that Get the Yankee gear. Oh man, especially once she got a silver sword. Ooh,
oh yeah, she's dirty.
Oh,
I got the name of your video, what you should call it. Call it honor mode, just the tips. Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
All right.
You know what, bud? I'll think about that one. I'll think about that. Yeah. We'll keep that. We'll keep that one to the side. But yeah, no, it was a wild ride. I would say that Act 3, part of Act 2. No, not really. I steamrolled Act 2. I absolutely just rolled on Act 2. Act 3, I had probably 2 or 3 areas where I got relatively like a little scared. I was like, there was at least 2 separate times that I almost lost it for sure. But outside of that, yeah, it wasn't all that bad. I mean, like, especially after it's your second run. So on your second time, you've already died once, and I died to something stupid, right? But after that, like, you've already learned a lesson. You know what I mean? So at that point, once you've learned that lesson, you're like way more prepared for every single fight that you go into, because each fight means so much more than it did before. Because, well, I lost 30 hours on the first time, and then you get into Act 3 and you're looking at like 70 plus hours, and you're like, well, I don't want to lose this.
Yeah. I would be a nervous wreck the entire time. And it looks like just the tips is trending in the chat. So just saying.
Chat, do not encourage him. Do not encourage him. So yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. Have you played with it at all, honor mode, or no?
No. I've been playing with custom mode quite a bit. No. Here's my worry. You know how I get like super salty and jaded, like with hardcore in general. Like I don't want to ever hate this game. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
So, I think you're the only person that I've ever seen lose 3 hardcore characters in a matter of 15 minutes.
We keep bringing this up, and it's starting to hurt my feelings.
You know what? The thing is that most of the people here weren't here the first time I ever told this story. So I'll go ahead and tell it again just to make sure it's fresh in everybody's memory. Mark and I were playing Diablo 3, and we had hardcore characters, and we were doing great. We were almost at the end game. I think we were like 1 level away from max level, and then we were going to start doing, greater rift farming and all that stuff. And I said something to Mark. I was like, hey man, I'm like, things are getting a little bit, out of hand. Like these guys are dealing a lot of damage. Maybe we should like tone it back a little bit, take our time. And he's like, no, we're completely fine. And then the second he says that, he just gets deleted. And we just sit there for a few minutes, and he's just like, it's fine. I got another hardcore character I've been making on the side. I'm going to go ahead and bring that one in. Mark goes, grabs that other character, brings it in, immediately walks in, dies within seconds. And then he brings in another one, and the same thing happens. And then I don't think we ever played Diablo 3 ever again.
Thank you, Jackie. No, we did. We went back eventually, but
maybe
not hardcore.
Yeah. Not hardcore. No,
not hardcore.
No, you learned your lesson.
Oh my God. Ugh. Yeah.
Now, the benefit is there's a common misconception that I've seen from a lot of people. They're afraid that, like, if one of your characters dies, that character's dead for good. That's not how it works. The entire party has to die. If everybody in the party's gone, then you're given a choice, and that choice is either to continue in Dishonor, where you can continue to play in honor mode, but you just won't be able to get the achievement or the dice at the end. Or the other option is delete the save and start over.
Yeah. Which
obviously that means that there's really only one option. Delete the save.
Delete the save.
Delete the save. Do it again.
So if you die in honor mode, it you still stay in honor mode, but you just don't get the achievement for it, correct?
Yeah.
So that's fair. I mean that won't be so bad.
So I think for some people, they probably would want to continue in Dishonor, maybe if it's their first honor mode run, because in that way they could go and experiment with the bosses, learn about their legendary abilities, and then try to prepare more for their next run. But me, I wanted to play it as holistically as I possibly could, as naturally as I could, because I wanted I wanted the viewers to be able to watch me try to
have to react on your feet. Think on your feet.
React on my feet, exactly. Like see what their legendary ability is, and then try to figure out a way for me to be able to subvert that in some way.
Yeah.
And it worked out. It was really cool. I had a lot of fun doing it personally because it was really cool to have those moments. Also, there was some really like dramatic points in the streams too that made me feel like I was like five head, like an absolute genius, because you'd see me like basically fall into a pit where it's like, man, this is probably going to be the end of the run, and then all of a sudden just like sitting back for a couple seconds, letting the brain, click the puzzle pieces into place, and then all of a sudden just getting right back to it and just laying the fight out and then calling it a day.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
What I've been doing in custom mode, because like I said, I'm playing, trying to do all the origin stories. I tweaked up all the difficulty of the enemies, and so there's a little bit of variance there in their abilities that they use and all that kind of stuff, and all that hoopla. But I think the only thing that benefits me on that run is it's something that I super love. Quick rest automatically, because I'm not saying speed through it, but I'm trying to get through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you quick rest, it fills your health all the way up to full on a quick rest, which is super. I think is just a super quality of life for trying to speed through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got you. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look at some of the like the custom play stuff a little bit. I've seen there's some really interesting custom options and things like that people have talked about. They brought it up in chat and whatnot, so that looks really interesting. Now, maybe I might do a playthrough where chat actually makes my custom playthrough.
That's true.
I think that'd be kind of cool. I don't exactly know how I'd put that together, but I think that'd be pretty interesting.
I think there's even an option to where you can't crit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think. So that would make so basically you wouldn't use Great Weapon Master because it would be completely useless.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea of Great Weapon Master is to get, if you get that crit, you get that extra attack. So if you can't crit at all, and there's a lot of items that reduce crit, and that's the whole reason you even go from them in the first place. Yeah, that would be really interesting.
Dude, this fight on screen right now, when you were telling me about it, it is, I literally would have been shitting my pants.
Yeah, well, see, I mean, right here in the fight,
that's a hard fight.
Right here in the fight, I thought I was good because, why? Oh, because he's already stunned. So I got him on my second stun, and I was like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna be good. I'll just keep him locked down. The monk will keep him locked down, but he ended up resisting like multiple times in a row, and got right back on his feet, and then proceeded to basically annihilate everybody, pacify everybody. It was rough. Yeah, there was a lot of literally. I mean, you can't see it on stream right now, but the chat was rolling, and the chat was like, "This is it. This is the end. It's over. No way out." And then, like I said before, there was one shining glimmer of hope. And it was actually one of the people in chat was just like, "Hope has divine intervention," and I was like, "I don't even know how that spell works." And then I read the text on it and was like, "Oh." And then there we go. That was it. Divine intervention healed everybody back up to full, gave everybody a long rest, and we just absolutely hammered the rest of the fight out. Yeah, also, on top of that, I've never saved Hope. So I didn't know Hope, if you save Hope, you get her monk gloves.
Well, I've never played a monk, so I probably sold them.
Oh, probably. Well, they're gross. They do like 1d10 force damage.
Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah. And not to mention they have like a couple other passive abilities as well. So like that with like the Kashigo monk chess piece, which gives you like a reactionary move where if an enemy misses you, you get to basically monk punch him. And yeah, it's a combo. It's a combo.
Punch.
So yeah, so that's honor mode. Yeah, I definitely do believe that it is the way that people probably should try to at least give a shot. Not to say that every single person needs to play it. I understand people have different skill levels. People have different things that they're just trying to get out of a game to begin with. Sometimes it's just there for the narrative more than it is anything else. I know plenty of people that just enjoy playing Baldur's Gate on story mode. And sometimes do a second playthrough on story or balance, just because they just want the narrative, they just want the story, they want to see the different story beats. And I think that's good. I think that's cool to play the game however you want. However, if you're looking for something different and something fresh, I highly suggest honor mode, because it is a crazy way to play the game. And personally, I don't think I could play it any other way now.
Going forward, yeah.
No.
Congrats, Miles. He just finished his first run ever. So congrats.
Oh, congratulations. So, yeah, and then on top of that, it was like, also, this was my first Dirge playthrough as well. So that was...
So, okay, did you Dirge it up? Here's the thing. When I played Dark Urge, I role-played it. I played Dark Urge. Every chance that I could get to be as evil as I possibly could, I took it. But what happens
are you talking about the actual urges themselves? You just gave into the urges. I'm
talking the urges and conversations that I have with people. Like I did the whole playthrough, like that. So there was a lot of stuff that I missed out on.
Okay,
because of it. But so did you kind of do it like? Because I noticed I've seen other people play Dark Urge and they're still playing as a lighthearted character in their dialogue with other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And what happened to me conversation wise is I got a core group of the companions that were all on the same kind of page of just F the world. Let's do this. Right. Let's just tear it up. And so did you have a hard time navigating that, or did you kind of float off into the lighter part of it? And then, did you fully Dirge it up? Is what I'm asking.
So yeah, for the most part, I made most of the darkest of Dark Urge choices, for sure. Which screws over a couple party members later in the game. Obviously,
it does.
Also screwed myself over because there were certain items that I sold to a specific vendor that I didn't have access to anymore as a result of my Dark Urges. Mm-hmm. I did not attack the Grove, if that's what you're asking. I didn't do that. I didn't even think about doing that, to be honest. Just because I was like, I want these quests and I want these NPCs because I'm playing honor mode and I need all of the XP and all of the resources I can possibly get.
I've found that the game balances. If you talk your way out of it, it's the same XP as if you killed the people. You know what I mean? You get the same XP gain.
But it's the items though. You know what I mean? Like there's specific items from, a couple vendors that you wouldn't have access to anymore if you go that route. And if that's the case, some of those items can honestly be a deal breaker it can be a deal breaker in honor mode, especially, later parts of Act 2 and definitely at the beginning of Act 3. Yeah. Especially the thing is that, somebody actually had brought it up in chat when I was doing the playthrough. I'm like, there it is, guys, Act 2, and they're like, well, you still have to get through the intermission. And I completely forgot about the intermission because the intermission is actually it's actually tough.
Yeah,
that's definitely relatively difficult because you beat that final boss and then you go into the intermission, and some of those oh man. Get Yankee doing Get Yankee things.
Yeah, dude.
It's so funny how strong the Githyanki elemental monks are when you're fighting them, but how they're not when you're one of them.
Yeah, when you're one of them, they're like, nah.
Yeah, if you try to do the if you try to I don't know. For me personally, I haven't found a really good build with it yet, but the elemental Gith monk is just not as strong that I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I forgot No Beats had made a body snatcher of Alfreya. Or yeah, that's how you say your name. And then he
Alfira?
Yeah, and then he killed her as that character, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was really good. I for the most part I gave into the urge. I mean, obviously the reveals in Act 3 were really interesting. All that stuff was super cool.
Super cool.
Again, I'm going to say it again. Definitely play urge. You got to play it. You got to play it because I personally, again, I'm going to say this too. I think that Dark Urge plus Honor Mode definitely feels like the way that you're supposed to play the game.
Yeah.
Those two in combination with each other is a really, really compelling experience. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And that's why, after I'd finished my Dark Urge and you were playing yours, I didn't want to talk to you about any of this stuff because it was all awesome. All the story bits of it were awesome. It was just good. It was just good.
Yeah, and a lot of the later reveals and stuff like that, you're like, well, wait a minute, holy, okay, wait a minute, what? Yeah, and especially because they bring it up kind of nonchalant, so I'm like, what? Huh? That's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's been really good. And obviously, then I got over my fear as well that if I beat Baldur's Gate 3 and I beat Honor Mode, that I wouldn't
want to play it again.
I wouldn't want to play it again. And of course, I immediately started another playthrough on Honor Mode and a co-op playthrough with Cody on Honor Mode.
Oh.
So we'll see how that goes. He's like, well, I'm just gonna tell you.
He's like herding cats, bro. He's like herding cats on some stuff.
He's like telling me, he's like, well, I don't know, man. You know, I don't really understand the game all that well. Yada yada yada. And I'm like, hey, dog. Well, if there was one person you could play with, you're playing with the right guy.
Yeah, right.
If there's one person you want to talk and find out a great resource for Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just gonna say I might know a couple things about this game.
I've done some research.
Yeah, we'll say that. Yeah, I've done some research. So yeah. So let's talk about some news related stuff.
Yeah, since we're already on the Baldur's Gate, let's just transition over. Did you see that? What happened to the Xbox players?
Oh no, yeah, I saw something. I glanced at it and then I just went past it.
Yeah. So, which I think it's weird. I've got a lot of open thought on this. I think it's weird that Larian's being brought into this because this is an Xbox policy. Right?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with them.
So, for one, why are creepy Xbox players capturing these scenes in the first place?
The romance scenes?
Yep. And two, it's Xbox.
Why are you saying creepy Xbox players?
Well, I mean,
like people on PC and PlayStation haven't done it too.
But they're not like
this game is filled with fucking degenerates. What are you talking about?
Anyway,
Come
so
on, let's
on
be
Xbox,
real.
Their policy on Xbox is when not their policy, but just there's the way their system's set up. So whenever you capture video, it automatically uploads it, right? And so Xbox started banning people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I get because children don't need to see this stuff. I get that. But why is this a Larian problem? This is an Xbox problem.
Yeah, I think the reason why Larian's getting involved is because they're really overprotective of their community and they want to make sure that their community is represented not only by themselves, but also by the developer of the game as well. Because I think Larian's afraid that if Xbox wants to take the more corporate, clean stance of, no, you can't record those clips from this game, then obviously the developer is going to get involved and be like, you can't tell them that they can't do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm looking at this from a corporate standpoint. This is Microsoft, not some mom and pop company that's like, oh, let the players do what they want. No. They have a public image that they're trying to uphold, and they want to make sure that it's a safe and clean platform for children because most people are going to be buying Xboxes for their kids. So I could easily see Xbox trying to take the stance where they're saying that players wouldn't be able to record or take screenshots of those kind of images and stuff like that. But that's why Larian feels like it's their responsibility to get involved because they're like, hey, you wouldn't have the right to do that. So before you guys even think about making that choice, we're just going to say, hey, we're also listening to what you're about to say, Xbox.
Yeah, true. But Xbox does have the right to. So it's their platform. If they want that, it's just with it, like if they didn't want Baldur's Gate in general on their console, they don't have to. You know what I mean? So they do have the right to control what the narrative is of what they see, at least in the community. You know what I mean? They do have that right.
I agree.
But I still don't understand why. Like I said, I get what you're saying, but maybe it's just the way the media is doing it. It's always like if there's some sort of Baldur's Gate problem, it's Larian and Larian and Xbox. It's what I mean, instead of just Xbox's issues or
and they did the same thing with the Xbox port, right? Where it's like, well, Larian's got to answer for this, and it's like, no, they don't. Xbox is the one that needs to pull the reins off and let Larian not have to make the exact same game for a toaster and a microwave.
Yeah, that the console's sitting there going tick, 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 you know what I mean? And then like, let's go ahead and post that.
Bro, I have a 3080. I have one of the newest CPUs, and even my system still chugs in Act 3.
Yeah.
Even my system still chugs in Act 3. So, of course, an Xbox Series S is going to be like, water! Water!
What are you doing to me? Did you see that they put out, never mind, I'll leave it alone. They put out a Series S toaster. It's a toaster that looks like the Series S. But yeah, I just thought that was weird, and I get it. I don't think kids should be subjected to that, and I think that falls on the parenting, of course. Like if it is kids that are, recording this stuff, well, you bought the game for your child. The child didn't, go buy the game themselves. So
yeah,
know what your kids are playing, bro.
Yep.
Games are rated for a reason.
Let me fix this real quick.
What are you fixing?
The stream title on Twitch.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I'm digging my playthrough right now. It's kind of fun. I'm actually looking up how to build classes instead of just willy-nilly it just to go around, just to see how stupid I can make some of these characters. Didn't want to romance Shadowheart, and guess who I'm romancing? Shadowheart. You know why? Everybody else rejected me. That's why. And she was the only one that was like, "Come to mama." That was it. That was it. That's the only reason.
Yeah. No, so I don't know have they come up with a resolution for that yet? I didn't see. I'd imagine the Xbox is just gonna let it pass, or no?
No, they're some of them are getting unbanned, right? Some of them are getting unbanned. Maybe if it's auto clip, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna weed that out. But the only way I can see it is if they just Xbox literally in their software just needs to say it needs to ask before you send, right? That makes simple. Do you want to send this? Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very much it's a flaw in their software more than anything else. I think I've even seen somebody in chat bring it up. They're like, I don't understand why Xbox automatically uploads their clips and stuff anyway.
Because so Xbox has this big deal with they've always tried to have a big community like deal, like you've got groups you can join just for games to get whatever stuff from games and all that stuff. So they're always about community. So I get where they're coming from with like the ease of it, like, oh, I just take this screenshot or this clip and it automatically posts it to the community that I'm a part of. I get the ease of it, but that's really dumb. It's really dumb. It's like throwing someone a gun that doesn't have a safety on it. You know what I mean?
So yeah. And actually, No Beat says it in chat. It's forced participation for engagement, basically.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's basically them just trying to push the clips and stuff like that to try to show how active the community is, even though most of those people are just taking clips just so they can share it to one friend, not have a bunch of random people look at it. To be honest, I don't even know where those clips even wind up to begin with.
I'm not sure.
Half the time, I forgot that I even had clips at all. Other than the clips that I do want to find, I can't find.
Yeah.
I had this one really good clip of like playing big team battles in Halo 4 or Halo Reach, where I used like the gravity hammer and I smashed this warthog that was coming straight at me, and it flipped over with 4 people in it, and all 4 people fell out, and they were coming around to shoot me, and I just did the second swing, which is like a side swipe. And when I sideswiped it, it just so happened that all 4 people walked around to the opposite side of the vehicle to come at me. They all came from the same direction. So when I smacked it the second time, the warthog hit them, and just they all went flying. And I had this really cool angle where I turned away from the camera to go like back into combat. And you can see them almost like it was like Super Smash Brothers. Like they were like 400 feet in the background in the sky, just like ding. And I'm like, dude, this is the best clip I'm ever going to have in my entire life. And now I can't find it anymore. It's gone.
I think I did that on the Xbox One with a couple games like Battlefield 4. Made a couple because they had the studio there where you could actually clip some games together and make a little montage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where it's uploaded to now. I thought that was just super weird take on their part to just go ahead and upload it. I had a game I was playing on PC. I think it was a Madden game. So every time you got a touchdown, it would automatically record the replay of that touchdown. And I didn't realize it was doing it. And then my hard drive was getting full, and I was like, "What is going on?" And yeah, it was sitting there just recording touchdown footage.
Oh, every single time.
Yeah, every single time.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was playing on like rookie, so I was scoring like 80, 90 points a game. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh man. There's that, and on top of that, they're auto sharing all of those. So they're like, this dude thinks he's a god or something like that. He's playing on easy mode. What a scrub.
Yeah, what a scrub.
What a scrub. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. Well, I guess we'll see what ends up happening with that story as things kind of develop for it. Maybe I might cover that next week. I'll take a look at the information surrounding it, and maybe it's part of a broader discussion about having our own personal media shared.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, you should have
unintentionally.
You should have the choice of what you share media wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even so, there actually is a setting for it. Maybe somebody that uses Xbox can tell us whether or not there is a setting for that. However, if that setting is defaulted to on, that's probably not for the best.
It's probably not.
It's probably not for the best. That's a pretty bad mistake. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, oh my God, there was music with that. I'm sorry about that, chat. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about today as well is there was recently some new gameplay that came from IGN for Dragon's Dogma 2. A new 18 minutes of gameplay, just showing off combat with a few different classes, showing what we're going to be able to do in this beautiful and fantastic RPG that's well on its way. So I do want to talk a little bit about Dragon's Dogma. Okay. Did you told me you were going to go play it? Did you?
Yeah, I've played it. I haven't beaten it or anything. About 15 hours, 16 hours, I think so far.
Okay.
Enough to get a gist of how it works.
What it is.
Yeah, what it is. The climbing looks a lot better on this than it played out in the first one. The first one, God, I'd be sitting there climbing, and then my dude would like turn like upside down, be crawling weird. I'm like, come on, no, other way, go up. But yeah.
Keep in mind, Dragon's Dogma was released. I want to say 3 or 4 months after Skyrim.
Okay.
I think Skyrim released in like November, and then 4 months later, or 5 months later is when Dragon's Dogma came out. Okay. So like obviously, I try to keep that stuff in mind when I'm playing these games, because I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, this is so like it's over a decade old.
Yeah, no, it's like, I think that's what I told you when you asked me originally, is like, it's got some of that 2012 jank with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The stuff that's been polished out now. But no, it's a really cool concept, really cool game. Really looking forward to the second one.
Yeah, is there anything specifically that you like about the game at all?
I liked the, what are they called? The people that come with you? Like your
the pawns?
Yeah, pawns. I think that's a really, really cool system to have.
It's so hard to describe it to people with how cool it actually is.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like just doing the I went through, I think I got the second one. Yeah, I got the second one. We did our little training thing, and then we just went out into the the open field to kill some wolves and all that kind of stuff. And it's just
wolves hunting packs.
Yeah, it's just cool. They have little call outs, and it feels like they're part of the party more than most games make their groups. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what's really impressive about it is how functional they are for how old that game is.
Yeah.
Because this is relatively advanced game technology for a game that came out 12 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
That's because there's games that still haven't done it today.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any other game that I've played in the last couple of years that or even the last 5 or more years that has an AI system that's similar to this, and I don't think there is one. I don't think there is.
No, I mean, this game does so many cool things and so many cool ideas that it was made well before its time. I mean,
way before
it came out way earlier than it should have.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if that game had come out like this one, the one that's coming out, I think this one's just going to do gangbusters. I think it's going to be super, super popular.
Yeah, I think it's a game that like a lot of people are relatively gonna sleep on a little bit. I've seen some people like, you know, ask a few questions about it, really being unsure. But I hate to be one of those people, man. But like Capcom has just done so well over the last few years that I have a really hard time seeing them screw the pooch on this.
Oh, they're getting bought by Nintendo.
Are they?
No, I'm just going to be one of those podcasts that just throw some stuff out there. They're a struggling Japanese company, and
I would have believed that. I don't.
Nintendo going to buy them.
I don't keep my ear to the ground as much as I probably should.
Dragon's Dogma is going to be Switch only.
Well, they only missed with Exoprimal. People are still playing it though.
Yeah, people still love it.
People still like that game. Like even though it's not like a wildly popular acclaimed title, people are still playing it. People are still enjoying it.
There's so many. They have so many franchises that I would love for them to bring back, like Lost Planet. I think it would be super cool nowadays. A super, super cool game to get.
I think Lost Planet would make a really good extraction shooter.
It would.
Yeah,
it would, especially with all the like the insects and like fucking what was that? What's that movie?
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers. Hey, you know what? Your brain's working better than mine today.
Yeah.
I like it.
I should have recorded a video today.
Yeah, right? You're snapping. But yeah, it would be super, super cool. But Capcom, they have, you know what? I'm gonna Google what all their franchises so I can sit there and complain which ones they haven't.
Well, you heard me talk about it before. Like oh dude, Power Stone. Oh.
Power Stone, yeah. Another one.
Chat, I don't know if you guys know this. My favorite gaming console of all time is the Dreamcast, and I will never, ever, ever forgive Sony for it. Sony killed my favorite gaming console. I loved my Dreamcast. I loved the games that came down it.
So good.
Dude, it had so many good games, but the problem is that the PlayStation came out and it was just too popular. It was cheaper, it was easier to develop for, and I get it. It was a superior console, but at the same time, like the Dreamcast was sick.
I don't, like power wise, I don't think the PlayStation was a more superior console. I really don't. I
think it was easier to develop for. I don't think it was more powerful.
Yeah, having no third party support will kill any console. It'll kill any console except for Nintendo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they can survive on their IPs.
Yeah, they don't have enough.
The funny thing is, they do now.
Oh, they do now. Yeah,
they do now. You know, if they had
Ghosts and Goblins, I'd do that.
If they had the depth of their library today, Sega probably would have been able to survive using like the Nintendo strategy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Just make sure you're putting all of your eggs into the basket of like super good Sonic games. What else?
Oh, shit. Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio. They've got all of their Yakuza games.
Yep.
Shit. Golden Axe.
Ian turning into Maximilian, dude. I love Max. Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm really interested to see how people are going to take to this game. Because it's one of the biggest common complaints that I'm seeing people talking about Dragon's Dogma 2 is that it's not multiplayer.
I thought it was. Is it not?
No, it's not multiplayer. Oh. No, it's single player. Just like Dragon's Dogma 2, just like Dragon's Dogma 1 is single player.
Yeah.
The multiplayer function is you being able to use my pawns. And then my pawn will help you in areas that maybe you haven't been to before or help you level or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
Outside of that, there's no multiplayer function that we know of. At least they haven't announced anything about it.
So
but
is there?
Just
do we get
how
to rent
the
them
game
out?
is.
Do we get to rent them out? Do we get paid for people using your pawns?
Yeah.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah, and if my pawn experiences something with you that I've never seen, my pawn will relay that to me the next time I'm in that area.
He won't.
So say
but
you
he won't. But he won't. Because
Why?
before he leaves, I'm gonna go shh like
Yeah.
that.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. So personally, I think that it's just a game that's meant to be played the way that it's meant to be played, and not everything has to be multiplayer.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Not everything has to be multiplayer, but it would be cool if it was.
Yeah, it would be cool. I'm not going to say that it wouldn't be fun or interesting to be able to play this with other people. Obviously, it does seem like a game that has like the mechanics built to be multiplayer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would be really cool to play it with four players. But at the same time, if that's the creative vision of the team and of the company to not make it multiplayer,
there'll be a mod.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I mean, they made mods for it for Elden Ring, right?
Yeah,
Even though Elden Ring already had the architecture for multiplayer, Dragon's Dogma won't have that architecture. But regardless, modders do what modders do, right?
Yeah.
However, at the same time, I don't know about all that because the modding, like Capcom's real hard on modders now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Capcom's real hard on modders. Basically, ever since that whole situation they had with that player that had the Chun-Li without any clothes at the fighting tournament,
yeah,
they clamped down really hard. I ended up watching this entire GDC video where basically Capcom came out with this huge script, I think it was like 50-minute long conversation about modding and exploiting in video games. And they're not only including modding, but they're also including like speed running, everything. So like, oh, you found an exploit in our game and you made a video on it. Well, we're going to copyright strike it and we're going to get it taken down off your YouTube channel.
That's so stupid. That's almost as extreme as Nintendo.
No, it's worse. They're actually worse. No, they are. Yeah. No, it's worse. Because so there's been some popular YouTube channels that have made like Monster Hunter guides, and sometimes they used mods to like do like emote stuff to like pretend like they were like punching a monster in Monster Hunter and stuff like that. Those videos have also been copyright, and we're not talking about copyright claim, because copyright claim means, hey, the creator's like, hey, could you please take this down? Otherwise, we're gonna share the monetization. No. This is Capcom coming out saying, we will shut down your YouTube channel.
Wow.
We will get you banned. Because if you get strikes, by the way, I don't know if you don't understand how this works, but if you get copyright strikes on YouTube, you get 3. 3 strikes, you're out. And that means you are banned from making content on YouTube. You can't just go make a new channel and try over again. No. You're banned. And if you try to make another channel and it does get monetized and they catch you, they'll ban you again.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, Capcom is actually going out dropping strikes on people for having video content of any sort that shows them playing, modded versions of their games in any way.
Okay. All right. Well, when you start streaming this game, you better watch it there, cheater. So,
oh my God. But but this is like, I've never really been big into modding to begin with. I think the only games that I've really modded a whole lot is like Divinity Original Sin 2. Yeah. Definitely modded the crap out of that. Baldur's Gate 3, once it gets official mod support, I'll mod it.
I can't wait, dude. I'm so
Terraria, but Terraria has its own mod system.
Yeah.
The games that I play that have mods have official mod support. Yeah. I'm just not experienced enough to be downloading these files from sometimes these more questionable sketchy websites with advertisements all over the place and stuff like that. So like, though I do like modding games, I'm just not into that whole thing.
Yeah. That's I don't know. It depends. I'm more into quality of life mods than I am, like just game breaking mods, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, Biscuit brings it up in chat saying he's like, Itsuno said mods are really important to the game, and I think Capcom has one opinion on mods, and the game directors and developers probably have a completely different opinion. So like, here's the thing. That's absolutely true, because I almost made a video about this topic, but I'm just not as entrenched into the modding community to really come up with anything good to say. But the one thing that I will say that is good to say is that mods lead to further longevity of the game. The more active and the more vibrant your modding community is, the longer your game goes on, the more replayability your game has, far beyond what you designed it for. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great, because that means that people are going to continue to play it. They're going to continue to buy it. And there's times where people will see people using mods in YouTube videos. Oh man, I really want to do that. And then they go buy the game. How many people do you think have gone and bought Skyrim or Oblivion after seeing Skyblivion or whatever, all these other mods for Elder Scrolls games? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, for sure. There's people that are going to want to play it just for the mods.
Well, I mean, do you think Skyrim would still be as popular and people playing it if it didn't have mods? No, it wouldn't.
No,
there's no way.
No. And there's companies that understand that. And then there's some companies that are rigid, cold boomers that just don't get it. That for some odd reason just don't click with it. I think it's more of a corporate mindset.
Wow. Hate speak like that?
Yeah, it's more of like a rigid conservative outlook on your products that it's not good. It's just not a good stance to have, because you see the companies that embrace it are the ones that are typically the most successful and have some of the more successful titles, right?
Yeah.
Divinity Original Sin 2 did fantastic for Larian Studios. Terraria has its own mod loader, own official mod support. Obviously, Terraria is incredibly successful. So yeah,
I think they have a more
Skyrim for the most part, but and obviously Bethesda. But Bethesda's on the other side, where they actually they need the modders to make their games playable. So
I mean, are we kidding ourselves and calling them modders? Is that what we're doing, or are we calling them engineers? Because
paid interns, unpaid interns,
yeah, unpaid interns. Because it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, unpaid interns. Yeah. That's Bethesda. That's just what they do. So yeah, the gameplay that I saw for Dragon's Dogma 2 looked really good. I'm super impressed. The game just looks prettier and prettier. I made a video about it this last week talking about Dragon's Dogma 2, and man, I can't wait.
I liked your take. I liked your take on the Unreal Engine 5 in that, where we're in the cusp. I think we're gonna get a lot of good and a lot of bad games because of the ease of the engine. So the devs that aren't as I don't want to say the day before type devs, but I think we're gonna see a lot more of stuff like that because of it, because it's so easy to pull assets and just copy paste to throw it together to make it look like it's something that it's not. And then we're gonna have the people who, I honestly feel like the coalition that's just gonna shatter what that engine can do. You know what I mean? So yeah, I your take on that was it's quite nice, sir. I wouldn't say it was a chef's kiss, but it was a kiss on the lips.
Well, no, sure. I mean, so we constantly hear people talking about Unreal Engine 5. But one of the things that we see is, how often are we seeing games that are using store assets?
Often.
All the time. I literally just watched a video of Asmongold reacting to this guy's video where that Quinfall, that MMO that's supposed to be coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all store-bought. The whole thing.
It works.
The whole thing is store-bought. Literally, he goes asset for asset. It's every single combat animation, every enemy, every piece of equipment on the on all of the on all of the NPCs and stuff like that. The character models, the whole thing. Yeah, $1,600. Yeah, somebody did they did the math on the video, and we're just adding up the dollars. Like $1,600 worth of assets was their first trailer that got all these people hyped. And it's just like this. But this is the world we're gonna live in because of Unreal Engine 5. Yeah. I think it has the ability to enable some developers to do some really cool things, but it also enables a lot of people to be scammers at the exact same time.
It does 100%.
Yeah, but beyond that, that's why I look at it. That's why I look at something like the RE engine, and I'm really impressed by it because
it's versatile.
Biohazard is one of my favorite Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
It was just good. Especially
Great
because
game.
you didn't, especially because you did. The funny thing is, when I got it, I didn't actually know it was a Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
Because it
That's
just
true.
says Biohazard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't until you start playing, you're like, wait a minute, this is Resident Evil. This is Resident Evil?
Yeah.
And like, it's pretty, it's gross. It's first person, obviously, which was a little bit different for a Capcom game. And then you look at the versatility of the engine, and you have them playing, you know, it's Street Fighter 6 is in it, and Devil May Cry 5, and now Monster Hunter Rise is also in it, and so is now Dragon's Dogma 2. But the one thing that I specifically brought up in that video that I think is really the most poignant part is all of those games are incredibly visually distinct from one another.
They are.
Where a lot of these games that we see that are coming out for Unreal Engine 5, and this is my opinion, you guys can disagree with me if you want. Most of these games in Unreal Engine 5 all look the same.
Very samey. I wouldn't say the exact same, but they're very samey.
No,
Like-
I'm gonna say the most extreme thing and say they're all the same game.
Aliens.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's other engines. You got the RE engine. That's really good. I think I honestly believe. Did you ever see the Matrix demo on the Unreal Engine 5? Ridiculous, like stupid ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Then you've got the
texture
creation
mapping and stuff.
Yeah, you've got the creation engine, top notch. I think it might be if I were to bet money on it, if I was a betting man, I would say that the creation engine could probably put Unreal out of business. It's that good.
What is wrong with you? Why are you like this?
No, you made me watch that Starfield video today, and it's just got me. It's just got me in the mood to be
unscripted.
cheeky.
Yeah. Super funny. Yeah. No, so I mean, and that was just one of the things, like, as I'm like, you know, getting ready to talk more and more about Dragon's Dogma in the future, this is just one of the things that I kind of noticed where I'm like, man, you look at a game like Street Fighter 6, which is like
I'm gonna download it and try that game. I really am. Yeah, I know, right? Hi, I'm Mark, and I have a problem.
You okay?
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, do your thing. Do your thing. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, all the games look incredibly different from one another, and it's kind of wild to see that. But that means that all the assets for those games are specifically made for those games, which makes those worlds feel a lot more natural. It makes them much more immersive, especially when you're not seeing things that are literally just ripped from one game and threw into another.
Yeah. Well, it looks like the artists are actually doing their job. You know what I mean?
Looks like they're actually putting artists to work.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the flip side, I didn't grab it.
Oh.
Speaking of artists, did you see that? Did you see the letter from Square Enix?
About AI? Yes, I did.
Let's take a look at that real quick. A letter from the president.
I don't even know how Square Enix had enough money to send out a letter. You know what I mean? Like,
Out of business.
they're out of business.
So I just did a quick search, just a Control F to see, and AI is used. I just want to make sure that it's not doubling up. I'll subtract 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 times. AI is used 20 times in their letter. Artificial intelligence. What does it say right here? It says artificial intelligence, and it's I'll pull it up on screen so that way you guys aren't like feeling left out. You know what I mean? It says here artificial intelligence is hopefully that I don't think that's.
It looks like
visible.
it's in Japanese, so
Sorry. Can you see that? I guess it was useless me trying to do that. I'm sorry, chat. What is wrong with me? It says artificial intelligence and its potential implications had some time largely been on subjects of academic debate. So basically they're talking about like we realize like everybody's debating the subject of whether we should be using AI or not. However, the introduction of ChatGPT, which allows people to easily produce translations or like English or like language translations and text-based stuff with rapid speed and of generative AIs and how they want to leverage AI going into the future. This is part of a larger discussion of, I don't really have, you guys can think this is a hot take and probably will be a little spicy, I guess. I don't really see much of an issue with them using AI as long as it's being done to provide us with more quality of an experience.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, stepping outside of it, every business tries to cut costs and become more efficient because that is what a business does. Businesses aren't charities. They're trying to make money. And the only way you can do that is by either making really good products, but not just making good products, because you could make a great product and still go broke.
Yeah, you can.
You have to make sure that you're controlling your costs, you're controlling your budgets, you're controlling, how much you're paying your staff, how many staff members you have, how much you're spending on marketing, all that kind of stuff. So I don't see any issue with it as long as it's being done in a way that it's actually providing us with a higher quality experience overall.
Okay.
Now, with that said, I mean, there are some implications.
And there are.
There are some implications.
I don't like it. It's weird because I haven't, because I feel like it's still kind of new and it's such a nuanced topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I don't really know how I feel, and I don't want to be like a middle of the road on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also don't want to be hard left or right in the whatever camp. But yeah, I think them using AI to make games, I don't really have a problem with. I just don't. Like I don't have a problem with the AI making art if it's not sourced from other art. You know what I mean? If it's, but that's the only way AI learns, right? And it's not its own self-consciousness to where it can come up with its own art. You know what I mean? It's still going to pull from reference, but every idea that you've ever had, Ian, guess what? It comes from your whole history of everything you've ever seen. So it's kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? Like there aren't really any genuine brand new, like out of the box thoughts that, we got. It's just like with music, like every note's been played. There's no notes that haven't been played.
Yeah, just depending, but there's just like an infinite number to how
the
those
sequence that you put them in.
Yeah. Well, it's not just the sequence, but it's also the timing. It's also the delay. It's the how you're using the pitch. There's all kinds of different nuanced takes to have on this kind of subject. But I think specifically what I'm talking about is making sure that they're using it in a way that it's creating a better experience for the end user. But also you still have to think about some ethical implications going forward because you are going to remove people's jobs as a result of this. Yep. However, with that said, how worthwhile were those jobs? Do we need to have I realize people aren't probably going to like this take of this, but if a job is so easily removed by AI, how worthwhile was that job to begin with?
Yeah,
and I realize people can say this because usually this goes into artists specifically, artists, writers, creative fields, and things like that. However, I'm going to say this: artists, writers, poets, singers, songwriters, musicians, all of those things have their own unique flavor that cannot and should not be able to be reproduced or imagined upon by AI in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like
there's always something uncanny, and I personally don't think specifically like in the art space. Yeah, you're going to be able to make some generic things, but there's that human touch to art that can't be erased and it can't be replicated. And you can see that because even though people say, "Oh, well, AI is getting better and better," AI is still fucking dumb.
Yeah,
like it's still like it has gotten better. The image quality, if you're looking at like AI image generation, has definitely gotten better. But there's a level of detail and human touch that just will not be replicated because AI doesn't have an imagination.
No, it doesn't think.
You know what I mean? It can't imagine those. It can't imagine things. It doesn't think. So while I do think like some people are going to lose their jobs as a result of some of this technology, I also think that people also have to do a better job at making themselves. At the same time, people have to do a better job at making themselves irreplaceable.
Okay. So I'm going to bring up like I know on the podcast notes that I put it as an end topic, but it's really it ties into this, so we can go ahead and have this conversation. So with that being said, and your take on it, my take's a little. It's the same. I get we used to talk about art, but what about AI generated voice acting?
Ooh.
Because I'll throw you some stuff, some arguing points that you can argue against. Right now, the voice that everyone's hearing is not your natural voice, right? It's been pitched, or not so much pitched, but gained and everything else just to make it sound this way. So voice actors have already been doing that. So
yeah. I can even turn off my my voice modulator. Hey guys. No.
Hi guys. I like my chocobos.
I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast.
But so how do you feel about AI generated voice acting? Like voice acting, it's all AI generated. This is the big topic that I saw that a lot of voice actors are scared of AI generated voice acting because it's going to put them out of work.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, how do you feel about that?
Again, I'm going to go back to this. There's something about a human performance, and I think this is something that was really well captured with Baldur's Gate 3 on a level that we haven't seen in a really long time, where certain time, like when you let actors act and have full control, you're going to get a product on a level that I don't think AI will be able to replicate the same way.
Ever or just now?
I don't know. I think it's really hard to make that kind of prediction because, how do you get that very specific tone? How I'm talking right now, the pauses that I have, the slight stuttering, things like that, like very nuanced ways that people can communicate with one another that I don't think you're really going to be able to fully nail down with AI generation. I just don't think it's going to be possible. I think you'll be able to get close, but I think that there's still going to be that slightly something's off.
Spam.
Yeah. Like you're going to have that feeling that something just isn't right. So it's just not going to settle for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's from just thinking about it, the amount of coding that would have to go into it in general, because you would have to code an emotion. Okay. Then you'd have to code how a person reacts to that emotion tone wise. Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of tone, cadence, the whole deal. I mean, it's a lot of coding, but I don't think it's impossible. I mean, right now, yes. I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah. I don't know. And then obviously then you have the you also have to get the voices from somewhere.
No, you don't. It's just like I told you. You can pick a common chord of what tone you want, and then you can pitch it however you want.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like you have typecasting for things and stuff like that. Well, yeah, you can just probably try to type that into some type of AI generation tool or something like that, like generative tool. I don't know. I think that people have an outlook for the science fiction, science fact.
Yeah.
Future of this matter of fact idea of what the technology will look like ahead of time, rather than actually knowing what it's going to look like. And while I do think it's going to get more advanced in much scarier ways over the years, I also don't think it's going to get to the level that many people probably assume it will in certain sectors. In some sectors, for sure, because the potential is already there. However, in areas of emotion, feeling, and experience, I don't think so. I just don't think so.
Like
a really good example of this. Before I'm just sorry to cut you off on this, but I don't want to lose the thought. But really good example of this: Final Fantasy 16 playing Final Fantasy 16 near the beginning of the game, the Ifrit and Phoenix fight, and Ben Starr with his guttural screams of horror as he's watching his little brother get murdered. You can't replicate that with AI. I don't think you would be able. No, I don't even think yet. I don't think you can and will ever be able to.
Okay.
Personally, that's just my take.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I'm seeing like Mishra is saying that AI can't do it in fluctuations. I'm just saying it can, and where it can eventually better. But like where AI I think is going to hurt people the most is probably in the labor industry. And it's like I think that's where the most of your jobs are going to come. So there's no industry I think that isn't going to have a job loss over AI. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, specific. You know, the funny thing is that like people that like STEM is in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way. Think about a future. And I know you just said people do this. Think about a future where you go to a hospital and there aren't people in there. You understand what I'm saying? You sit up, you get scanned. The AI figures out what's wrong with you. It uses robotic arms, which are more accurate and precise and don't leave, a scalpel inside of you.
Unnecessary scarring.
I mean,
yeah, there's no like, little tremors or anything like that, because obviously we don't have fully steady or accurate hands. Yeah, there's a situation where people in some of the more what they would probably believe to be the safest and most, sometimes even the most lucrative areas of industry are also going to be a threat of a lot of this stuff taking over for them as well. And I don't, but at the same time, I'm definitely one of those people that tries to keep a relatively optimistic outlook on it, that where one hole gets filled,
yeah,
another one opens, right?
Yeah,
so like
sure.
even though like, because this isn't the first time something like this has happened before.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? This isn't the first time that something like this has happened before.
No.
We've seen fluctuations in things like print media when the internet came out. Look what the internet did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look what the internet did. However, the internet also
just
created a ton of other jobs. Yeah.
Just digital.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, robotics completely changed the automotive industry.
Yeah.
Completely changed the automotive industry. Yeah, like it's exciting, I think, but yeah, it's cool to see. I want you to do something for me though. You still have that letter open?
No, I closed it.
Oh, I would love for you to hit Control F and type in marketing. And I want to see how many times he said marketing.
Oh, there's a few times that were in there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, when it comes to a lot of these companies that are like coming out right now and they're like, oh, we're really hardcore investing in AI technology. Like most of that stuff is just buzzwords for shareholders than it is for anything else.
Yeah.
Like there really is no great application for it. And I'm gonna make a video talking about this tomorrow. And the reason why I say there's no great application for it is because we are already starting to see companies go to use AI generated things. And guess what? It's not working because it's not at the point where it should be being used by businesses yet.
Yep.
For goofy stuff like me, like a YouTuber that uses some AI generated art for a thumbnail here and there, like, yeah, that's fine. But for a AAA game company that's worth billions of dollars to use for their advertising purposes,
not good.
Probably not the best choice. Bud. I don't know what you guys are
Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, I'm not. It's not even just Wizards of the Coast. You missed out on the second part. So there's this article from Forbes that I read this morning. Basically, Wizards of the Coast and Apex Legends as well come under fire for using AI art. And in one of the latest advertisements that they're doing for Apex Legends X Final Fantasy 7
Crossover.
Rebirth.
Yeah.
It's a crossover event. They used AI generated art in the advertising, which, like, I mean, looking at like this image right here, if I zoom in on this, anybody worth their salt that's been looking at images at any time in the last year or so can tell you, looking at this, yeah, this is an AI generated image. No. Because it just has that AI generation sheen on it. And then also on top of that, like how the face is structured and things like that. There's apps as well that you can use that you can actually just drop an image in, and it'll actually tell you, what's the percentage chance that this image was created by AI. And I've watched it already been done, and it's 98%. So it's kind of just like, yeah, dude, of course. So with that said, there's been a little bit of backlash. People have tweeting about it, making videos about it, discussing it, going back and forth. And while I'm somebody that doesn't think that, I don't think like it's not necessarily like that big of a deal. Nor do I think that the discussion that they're having, where they're just like, it's just how dare you, like theirs is just like a disgust. How dare you? What about the artists? What about this? What about that? The problem is they're having the wrong conversation, and this is the one thing that chat, I hope you guys kind of agree with me on, is that this is the whole reason I make YouTube content to begin with, is because many people get caught up in trying to have the wrong argument rather than trying to have the right argument. And now what I mean by that is I'm going to give you guys an example. Let me pull it up real quick. So remember before I said using AI is fine as long as you're providing an enhanced experience, a better product, or something like that, or at least maintaining the same level, right?
Okay.
At least maintaining the same level of your product. Okay.
Okay.
So let me find the sections I'm looking for specifically, and I will show you. However, I'm going to play this clip for you guys. This is part of their advertisement, okay? However, if your representation of another company's product is a lesser because of the fact you're using AI art, you're not only doing a disservice to your community, you're now undervaluing the product that they're collaborating with in the first place. This is a poor representation of Final Fantasy as a product. So not only are you like, if you're gambling with your own, corporate position, with your own public image, that's fine. But now you're doing a poor representation of somebody else's product as well. So like, you don't even value your own product. You also don't value the people that you're collaborating with as well. Like this, bro, what is this? That's Aerith.
That is a mix of Final Fantasy and BioShock 3. That's what that is.
You know what's crazy about this is that beyond that, like, it also just goes to show like how Western artists make games and make like women, especially in games, just look so damn bland in games anymore. And then we all know internally what Aerith looks like. So we see something like this and we're like, bro.
So, I mean, that brings up the question. What you're doing here, that brings up the question, what if a developer, let's say they're starting to make a game, they're starting to build their character models, and they AI generate a character model based on their description, and then they take that and then they draw it in the game. Okay, they from that art they draw their version of it in the game. Do you feel like that? Because it's basically the same thing, right? You would think.
Okay, say that again because I kind of missed what we were trying to communicate.
So what it looks like here is they had like character models already set up, and then they AI generated the aesthetics for them. Is what it looks like for the most part.
Yeah. So basically, they made like a pre-rig and then used AI over the rig.
So basically, they just didn't have it done before they were ready to show a deal. That's probably why they used the AI generated art.
No, I think they just cost cut.
Okay. So what if a developer is making a game?
I'm just going to give you an example. So my video editing software, Filmora, has a option on it where I can actually drop an image in of myself, so I could stand here and do this, right? And then I could click AI generation filter, and then I could choose AI. I could choose anime art style. I could choose fairies. I could choose whatever I wanted to pick, and then it would basically gloss over my image with whatever I put as that subject.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Yeah. So what I was asking was, I don't think this is okay, but would you think it's okay if a developer started with AI generated character and then redrew them in the game based off of that AI generation?
I mean, I think that's a really interesting discussion to have, right? I mean,
because that's where the cost savings is going to come from, right?
Well, I don't know. It depends, because the thing is that like this is like blatant use where the marketing department just probably didn't even contact or didn't even talk with the designing or the designers or the artists. This might have been a situation where the marketing team just didn't even mess with them whatsoever, just let them do their own thing and tried to basically just go around them entirely. I'm not really too sure. But what you're talking about is also interesting as well, where like maybe you could see some companies wanting to do that because it would time save a little bit. But it also depends on how accurate that artwork's going to be, that initial AI drawing or sketch of whatever you're trying to make.
Yeah, like you're just going to sit there and type in what you want, all the descriptive adjectives that you want in the picture and then tweak it from there. But yeah, so is that theft because of where it's sourced? That's that's the question. Even though let's say they do that and then they draw that over here, like each individual piece of that was sourced from somewhere, right?
Yeah. So that's where things get a little bit weird and complex. And this is the other thing as well too, is that since AI is not inherently creative, that means everything's going to start to look the same after a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I still say that like standard regular artists are still going to have value.
Yeah. Or at least one of them at the building, the head editor, he'll be the one
Whatever.
guy.
Yeah. But like you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm what I'm hitting at, right? So, I think it is an interesting conversation to talk about it being as a rough draft, because essentially that's what I do for some thumbnails here and there. Mm-hmm. If I can use game art, I will. But if the game art won't portray the emotion, feeling, or
look that you're looking for,
the look that I want, and I can't find an image of that character doing that, then I'll use AI to get what I need. Yeah. And maybe that's the same thing for artists as well. I mean, I what am I saying? Like I used to draw. I still do from time to time. And the hardest part of drawing is actually drawing. It's putting the pen to paper or putting the pencil to paper the first time, because you're thinking of something that you want to draw, but it's actually starting those first lines and getting that rough image down first before you start tailoring it that ends up being the most difficult part.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. I think we're going to see a lot more false flag like scares or witch hunts of companies going forward. We're going to have
I mean, so my thing is with this is that specifically if I'm talking about the Apex Legends and the Magic the Gathering thing,
Magic the Gathering thing's so weird because that goes to print. You know what I mean? Like that to me is weird. But
your whole business is your art.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's what their cards is. That to me is super egregious. I'm more agreed. Like I find that more egregious than I do the Apex still. Honestly, I really do.
I don't disagree.
So.
They do. By the way, luckily, I took screenshots of the Magic the Gathering stuff before
they pulled it down.
They already pulled it down. Yeah, because they went in there and they were like, "Hey, we're seeing that people are saying that we're using AI. We just want to say no, we're not." Yeah.
And then everybody else is like, "Nuh-uh, you are too."
And then they deleted the post.
Yeah.
And then they deleted the post. They're like, "Yeah." So they're like, we'll just maybe if we did, which is funny because they believe that if they delete it, then for some odd reason it's not going to be newsworthy. Well, it's too late, but it's already out there.
Yeah, so, it's out there.
Yeah, I'll have a video on that. Probably Tuesday is when that'll post, where I start talking about some of that stuff. So you know, and that's one of the things that I, man, like I don't have a problem with it inherently. However, when you're using it in a lazy way, I think that's where the real problem is, because it does enable people to be incredibly lazy.
Like that plagiarist from IGN a couple years back.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's one of those things where if you're using it to lazily, like, is in the sense of like what Wizards of the Coast was trying to do, is that if they could essentially not have to pay artists anymore.
Yeah, right.
I mean, then they're just printing money.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're like
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, we pay Mid Journey. They're like $100 a year, and we're good, baby.
Yeah, right.
That's how much does your artwork cost every year? $100.
Oh, you need a new set of cards?
Bam.
Done.
We got you. Yeah. So it's I guess my problem is when you're actually using it to not only devalue. It's a problem if you're that stupid at running a business to use it in a way that's actually going to devalue your business.
Yeah. Like those cards have a monetary value on them for collectors and all kinds of, like, it is so crazy.
Yeah. I have to figure out a better way to really try to communicate that, which I'll probably, once I start writing, I'll get a better handle on it. But yeah, it's that situation there where it's just like, you're dumb enough to actually provide a less quality service, not use it to cost cut, right? Like there's cost cutting for the sake of cost cutting, but then you're talking about actually like lowering the value of the service that you provide.
Yeah.
So that you could use something that would be cheaper. But the problem is that for something specific like this, where this is like literally your money is your art.
I had an Alex Jones tinfoil hat. What if only 2 or 1 of these cards that's an AI generated gets out into the public? Guess how much that's going to be worth?
Yeah.
A lot. It's going to be worth a lot because it's going to be super rare.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Keep their
that's also 5-head, dude. Just like make some cards but make it super controversial, so then you just cancel, so then you end up canceling the cards, but they somehow got out of the circulation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Except for one set. Smart. One set made it.
Oh yeah, no, there was 2 packs that were made already. Somebody took them out of they're out in the wild somewhere. Yeah.
Fell off the back of a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting discussion. I'm looking forward to writing for it and talking about it a little bit further, trying to, have a little critical thinking sesh on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's something else that happened recently.
What you got?
Well, it's still going on technically right now, but also right now is Final Fantasy XIV Fanfest.
Fanfesticles. Yeah.
Yeah. So Fanfest is going on. They released the full trailer. So this is now the full extended trailer, because every time Final Fantasy gets ready to do an expansion, they release like a half trailer during one Fanfest, another part of the trailer and another one, and then the final one and the Japanese one. And so the part of the reveal for this one were 2 things that people were really interested in seeing, if there was going to be like a new race or something like that we could, like, playable race or something. They added the Femroth. So the lion people, you can now make a female character of those. And then they also showed off the new class as well, which is the Pictomancer.
Yeah. I figured you would have been more excited about the fact that Yoshida said that they will have hats for the Vera and the Rothgar now that actually work.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal for the community.
That's actually... Stupid cat. That's one of the things that has always boggled my mind, is that like how long, they make all these updates, they do all these things, but like hats and helms still haven't been wearable on 2 classes for this long. It's like, guys, what like I get that they have other things that they're working on, but I guess it was just such a side issue that it just kind of got pushed to the background for so long.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know how much work it takes. It probably takes quite a bit, to be honest with you, because that's a lot of items in game to rework, basically. Or
I don't think you have to rework the items necessarily, as you have to rig it properly.
Yeah, just rig the head. Like as soon as it goes, like there are going to be some hats where the hats stick out, right? Because they got holes in the hats.
I guess actually you are right. You would actually have to rework some of the items because the sizes of the heads are different.
Yeah, so I mean, I get that, but for them, it's probably like not that big of a deal versus what the consumer wants. You know what I mean?
In comparison to the other things that they've been working on, major graphical update, things like that. I will say now, looking at it, seeing the graphical update, initially I was like, okay, like it's not. People really need to understand this graphics update that they're doing is not going to be like next level. It's not bringing it into 2023. It's bringing it into like 2018. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's still an MMO that has to run. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and I think people forget about that too because they see these flashy MMOs in Unreal Engine 5 that are all store-bought assets, and they're like, oh man, this MMO is going to look great, but like think about how those games are going to run and what kind of rig you're going to need to try to run that MMO on in the first place.
Yeah, and for looking, this is coming. They're not putting this game on the PlayStation 3. They're doing from PlayStation 4 and up, so it's going to be what can run on a PlayStation 4. So that should set your expectations.
Yeah. So I like a lot of the changes they made. A lot of the changes look relatively natural. Characters just look alive rather than like just dead in the eyes, which is kind of how they looked before. That was one of the things that I think I was the most impressed with the Fanfest. And it's also just like the softness of shadows. Like shadows look better on characters now, like more realistic, more depth in the hair, volume in hair, things like that. Yeah. So facial
animations were better too.
Yeah, and I think that they were trying to make this obviously with performance in mind, because you have to keep in mind that I don't think that the graphical update, I can't remember if the graphical update is going to be playable on PS4 or not. I would imagine it probably should be able to.
I would imagine it should, but I mean, it'd be cool if it wasn't.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those things where like they still have to continue to make the game for less powerful devices, so they can't go like full whole hog on it. Plus, it also depends on how flexible that engine actually is in the first place.
Yeah, like here, look at it this way: the game is about to hit Game Pass in February. I believe February is the date. You don't want to alienate 150 million plus consoles of PS4s of people who are potential, people who've been playing on that console.
There was an article recently talking about how PS4 is still popular.
Yeah, it is. It outsold Xbox plenty of months. No, I'm talking like the new Xbox, not the old one.
I gotta feed the cat. I'm giving you the camera. Go ahead and talk.
But so like you don't want to give up that many potential users or people who are already using it, and then on top of it, if it's going into Game Pass, it's going to add a lot more people to the world. I'm pretty sure that the servers are going to take a big hit on that. And it looked like I froze up. I might have froze up. Can y'all hear me? I'm just going to keep talking anyway. Did I freeze up?
Yeah, you're not looking good, bud. You okay? Yeah. What's happening to your head?
Max Headroom lips. You see that?
I like how your head. I like you look like. I almost don't want to fix it.
Leave it. Then you can make voiceovers like a ventriloquist dummy. It'll be all right. It is not a good GIF image, and let's not do that. No beast. All right. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how big the community gets. It's already a large community, but adding in the console Xbox players should be pretty good, unless they're going to have biasness against Square Enix, since they're out of money. So anyhow, don't be blah 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 on me, Wicked Witch. It's rude.
What's going on with your camera?
I don't know. I'm about to fight with the chat. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what's going on with the camera.
Oh, you're
it looks so weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks so weird. Turn your camera off and then turn it back on.
All right.
Not your actual camera, but like I would just like leave the call and rejoin maybe. What a situation. There you go. It's fixed.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fixed. Oh man, that's good stuff. You know, technical problems, things happen.
Tex. Before we crack it, anything else you want to talk about on the Final Fantasy?
I'm really interested to see where they're gonna go with this because I made a video that was talking about this this article that I saw that was talking about, you know, Final Fantasy Dawntrail as being Final Fantasy XIV's last opportunity to you know, tackle its stagnating formula. And their formula has been part of their success, right?
Yeah.
The consistency for one, and then the predictability as well is something that a lot of people like. They know,
Yeah.
like I know that I can go do a raid tier and then leave, and I won't have to come back to the game until, you know, X amount of months or whatever. You know what I mean? With that said, that does make things a little monotonous if you're somebody that's played the game for 4 or 5, 6 years or something like that. And yeah. But then you can also have the conversation that maybe you don't need to play a game for 8 or 10 years.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know what I mean? Maybe sometimes it's okay that, yeah, I played that MMO. It was good. I enjoyed it. I don't need to go back to it. Or maybe if you want to go back, you go back for the story beats and then you take, and then you know, walk away from it.
And that's me. That's what I've done so far is I played the story beats, walked away, and then I'm going to come back to play the story again for the new part and then walk away again.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's very much up to personal player preference and choice. But more than anything, I do believe that there is a gap in content that needs to be filled. I do, personally. This is just for me. Because my thing is that I would probably still be a much more active Final Fantasy player if there was something in between casual and raider. And that's something that Final Fantasy, or not Final Fantasy, but World of Warcraft does have something to fill that by having this alternate progression path where you can do what is it? Mythic rating, right? Or not mythic rating, mythic dungeons.
Yeah.
So having that option to have this kind of mid-core content where I could still play difficult, more difficult or challenging content, but in a less
hardcore way.
So I love Savage rating. I love Savage rating and I love ultimates. I thrive on difficult content, overcoming a challenge, especially with a group of people. I really enjoy that. It's very, very fun. However, with that said, I don't like having to schedule content to have to play with 8 other players 3 days a week because it limits a lot of my life flexibility. It makes it difficult for me to make YouTube content. It was difficult when I was working. You know what I mean? Like, it's a problem. Raid nights go long. Now I got to go to work the next day and it, you know, later. And maybe if I don't stick around, then the raid leader gets mad that I'm so rigid about how I make sure to, you know, I leave always at the exact same time. There's things that make me sometimes not want to participate in that kind of stuff.
You know, you get the politics of the group too.
I would like to have more content where I can just grab 3 or 4 friends and we go do some really difficult content together, you know, once or twice a week, whenever we want. You know what I mean? It's just me and a couple of friends that are going to do something. That's a completely different story. Something that maybe is a little easier to pick up other players with. I do think that the game needs some type of alternative progression route that doesn't pressure players to have to feel like they have to do it to remain competitive in the areas that they play the game, whether that's casual or whether that's raiding. But they should offer something that's there for the people that want to play the game all the time.
Yeah,
because there's people that don't want to raid but still want to play the game more.
Yeah, well, yeah, you've got that. You've got that. I mean, where Final Fantasy has something that World of Warcraft doesn't, there is that RP space in Final Fantasy. I think it's a richer RP space than what World of Warcraft offers. Yeah, you know what I mean? World of Warcraft has turned into a you jump in, jump out, play a game. Whereas, like you said, Final Fantasy is more of a time sink. It's more of an investment of doing stuff. But it's like if they had the like, I don't even know if like Mythic. I think Mythic Dungeons might be right. If they had something where like me, you, and say Jackie or something, we just want to run through one night and just try to knock a hard boss out and then, turn it off. We don't have to sit there and schedule, hey, 8:00 on Tuesday, you need to be on because we're going to start at 8:15. You know what I mean? So it just it needs to find that balance between hardcore and casual. Like, just like you said, just right the sweet spot on those. And I think it'd be all right.
And it's one of those things where like that definitely does it does interest me having content like that. It's one of the things that drew me back to like giving World of Warcraft a shot again, was because I thought that would be cool because it was like me and my cousin, his buddy, and one of my friends from back home, and somebody else would all get together, and then we'd run some Mythic Dungeons. It's not crazy hard, but it's still challenging, and it gets more difficult as you go on. And we're getting good gear and we're getting upgrades, and we can just run it as much as we want. And then when we're done with it, we're done. You know what I mean?
You can run it on higher levels, use higher keys.
Yeah, and technically, you're also still progressing the same as any other person is. You know what I mean? Like if you were a raider or something like that.
I was doing it with Drake and his buddies, and I think I got my eye level up to like, I think it's over 400, which is I think like 460 or whatever's the deal. I went from 200 to 400. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and people are talking about it in chat too. Like the thing is that Final Fantasy is going to run into an issue eventually where their story content is so expansive that it's going to be too much for a new player.
If as long as they don't,
at the same time,
you have to, but the way that their story is so interwoven, you can't do what Destiny did and just take shit out. You just can't do it.
You can't just go
catch it up on a cutscene.
Yeah, you can't go, don't worry about a Realm Reborn. Pull that out, because like even though like a Realm Reborn can definitely feel like a bit of a slog, there's still a lot of really good story beats, and it sets up everything that happens in every expansion going forward.
Yeah, it's like that's crazy.
But and the thing is, like, I get where people are coming from making the argument. They're like, you have to go through the story, but at the same time, I'm sorry, Final Fantasy XIV is not the game that you buy a skip. No. And you just get into the end game, because the end game, there's not enough meat on those bones for somebody to really enjoy playing Final Fantasy XIV and continue to play it. Yeah. Final Fantasy XIV, whatever you want to say, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. It's a narrative-driven game. And if you are not invested in the story of Final Fantasy XIV, chances are you're not going to continue to play it. You're not going to get into wanting to do the rating or the class mechanics or any of that stuff, because the game just doesn't mean anything to you. The allure of Final Fantasy XIV and the reason why it's so successful is because people love Final Fantasy XIV. They love the writers. They love the music. They love why the music is played in certain positions, in certain areas, at certain times during beats of the story. They love every single character, even minor characters. They love their own character and their place within that world. It has very little to do with the gameplay, like World of Warcraft, where World of Warcraft is one of those games where it's not even really story-focused as much anymore. That's the reason why the community is such an uproar over wanting to make sure that they try to get back to actually having good story beats in World of Warcraft again, because the game got away from that and just focused on gameplay.
Well, their solution to speed up the process.
So I just rap God out of nowhere, but yeah.
There's World of Warcraft solution of the same problem that Final Fantasy will run into, was to just cut the shit out altogether, and then you just have a cutscene and you start at what, BFA? You know what I mean? So you skip, or depending on whatever one you go to, their solution wasn't as good either. It doesn't. That's why I don't play it. I have no vested interest in it.
I can give you a really good example, right? Like Mark, at this point, you've played, quite a few hours of the game. You've leveled a couple characters, right?
Yep.
Okay. Why does the Horde hate the Alliance?
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. I literally have no idea. It's just, I thought it was because they're the Horde, and they're like, ah. And then the Alliance is like, oh, we're better, and that's it. That's all I got. So,
Yeah, I mean, from your perspective, you'd see and be like, oh, well, the Horde are the bad guys.
Yeah,
they're like
Hordes,
trolls. And
Hordes are bad guys. The Alliance are the, the
not even in the ballpark.
Strong right side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Alt-right over there. So,
right. God. But yeah, but that's just a really good example of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's one of those things where, yeah, and I think somebody even brought it up. Both games have the opposite's weakness.
Yep.
Final Fantasy has an incredibly engaging story that people love to latch onto with these incredibly memorable characters, and the way that, I'm sorry, there's very few games that do what Final Fantasy does with music, like how well timed all that music is to certain scenarios or certain quests or certain areas that you're in and stuff like that. It is just some absolutely next level stuff. I've said this 100 times, probably even on the podcast by now, but I will never, ever forget the moment that I stepped onto the final steps of Faith and the Dragon song starts playing in the background. I cried. I mean, I didn't cry, but I had like tears. Like I welled up. Like I had an emotional response to what was happening in a video game in a way that I had never had before. And I didn't really know exactly how to react to it, because it was just such a crazy, powerful moment of how everything came to be in that moment of the game.
Yep.
And I was incredibly invested, and very few games can pull off that kind of thing.
Yeah.
On the flip side, the game is very surface level when it comes to its end game mechanics. You get to the end and it's like, you can either be somebody that's going and sitting on a little farming island. You can be a crafter that's just making stuff just to get gil for nothing, because you can just buy everything just once, and once you have it, it's done. So you can just play the economy to play the economy. You could be a raider, which means you have to schedule your life every single week to even be able to do it in the first place. Or you could be somebody that likes to put yourself through the absolute hell that is Party Finder. You could be a cat girl of the night and work at a nightclub.
For Gil.
Little ERP, you know what I mean?
She works hard for the money.
She works hard for the money. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's just like, but that's like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Like, it's so weird. Is like, I went so like hard on it. Final Fantasy, got all the way through Shadowbringer.
Mm-hmm.
Waited for the next expansion. Played hard through that, and then once like it was. I don't know if it was because it was so emotionally draining by the end of it. You know, when mommy's walking through the fire. I just said mommy.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Just
watch yourself. This is a non-Final Fantasy 14 spoiler zone.
But that one hurt. You know what I mean? It hurt to watch. It was very emotionally draining. Climax to that story arc, and and so I didn't like. I kind of lost. I wouldn't say I lost interest. I with the updates afterwards, I played them, but I wasn't as invested. I don't know if that makes sense. I felt like it got wrapped up.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
like I didn't feel like it had more to offer me until the next expansion come out. So I don't know.
Monaco, I don't think it's disingenuous for me to say that's it. I mean, people usually will find themselves put into very specific boxes. You are either somebody that is a raider, or you're not. And if you're not, and then by the way, that's also me being hyperbolic when I was talking about the cat girl ERP stuff, obviously. Like, you have people that are really into housing, you have people that are really into the more social side, but like the casual, like, if I have to be more literal about it, you have story players that once they play the story, they are gone. The rest of the people that stay are either staying there because they are people that are social players, so they like to do social stuff either in housing or just hanging out in Limsa Lominsa. Maybe they do crafting and things like that. They just play it in a very chill way, but they don't play it regularly, super regularly. And if they do, they're playing it in a social aspect. Then you have raiders, which are people that are specifically for hardcore content. They are either always progging an ultimate, continuing to re-clear ultimates, or they're doing savage content. Those can also be separated because you can also have people that don't do ultimates but only do savages. Both can be exclusive in that sense. Yep. But when I'm thinking of games, especially when we're talking about MMOs and RPGs, when we're trying to design one in a way that you're going to keep players engaged for long periods of time, you have to have ways of meaningful character progression. Final Fantasy XIV's main way for meaningful character progression is very limited. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's there. It's just very limited. And it could use a little bit of spice. I'm not saying that the game needs to be rooted from the ground. I'm not going to say that the game is going to fail. I'm not going to say any of those things. I understand. I love the Final Fantasy community, but holy shit, do not say anything criticism-wise about this game, or people get all bent out of shape about it. The game can still improve. I love Final Fantasy XIV. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's in the top 5. I will never say anything bad about the game because I don't think they could not do anything, to be honest, and the game will still succeed. The game's still going to do fine because it has one of the greatest team of developers that are out there. But with that said, they could do better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, trust me, Ian. Anytime I want to trigger Ian, all I have to do is just talk bad about Final Fantasy franchise.
I'll slap you in the face.
He's gonna get mad. He's gonna get salty. So for a man who is biased towards a franchise to tell you that it needs work, I'm telling you, he ain't lying. So anyway, in my journeys this morning, while I was putting all these notes together, I ran across an article of a game that I completely forgot about coming out. I want to say they showed it at the Game Awards, or it was Summerfest. It's a game called Exodus. Do you remember that game? Nope, not even ringing a bell, right?
No, I remember it.
It was the better version of Starfield. Yeah, no. So, I just found some cool things about it. It's an RPG that's coming out probably next year, would be my guess. But it's from from one of the developers that worked on the original Mass Effect. And it uses time dilation as its main basically storyline mechanic. So a choice that you make, time dilation, if anybody's watched Interstellar, you know what I'm talking about, right? So a choice that you make 100 years in the past is going to have ramifications in the future. It's not just, oh, this person doesn't like me or whatever. They're saying that you're going to be able to make choices that actually change what's like, it's a long carrying effect. It's not just a short-term effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that looks like super, super cool. Do you remember this video now? Do you see it? No? Nothing?
Partially. Yes, now Partially? I do. Yes, now I do. Now that I see the girl falling through the hole, yeah.
Yeah, so this is like...
because she's like like died in the spaceship or whatever. Yes, I remember this.
Yep. Yeah. So I think this game is going to be one of those sleeper games, and I think it was at the Game Awards. When they showed it, because I was like, oh, finally a Starfield game with aliens. That'd be pretty sweet. So
yeah. What an interesting idea, right? What about making a space game that has interesting things in it? Yeah. No, I fully agree with you on that.
I thought this game looked really cool, and I'm gonna put it on at least on my list for like anticipated games.
They didn't show any gameplay though, right?
No, it's all CG. But like I said, I mean, just this kind of area kind of gives me that Returnal feel a little bit. So I'm hoping the combat
kind of reminds me of Destiny, actually.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool.
At least the maps and the enemies remind me of Destiny. The maps and the maps and the enemies, even just kind of like this kind of vibe here, like talking about the history of our people and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm getting. The more I watch this, the more I get more I get Destiny vibes for sure.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting idea. Doing the thing that Starfield didn't do, right?
Yeah. It has a focus on space travel, guys. It's weird.
That's
it's so weird. A space game where you travel,
but like by loading screens, right?
By loading screens. 16% more loading screens.
16% more loading screens.
No, but I thought that was super interesting. That, like I said, former Mass Effect dev, which I hate when they always say that. They'll say like a former blah 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 dev, and it was probably like the guy who cleaned out the trash can or something.
You know what I mean? Guy.
Yeah,
mailroom guy from EA. Yeah. He I think it would be almost better if it was like they're like, this game is made by people that used to play Mass Effect.
Yeah,
they played Mass Effect once for 2 hours at a friend's house.
It's somebody who bought the platinum hits of Mass Effect. Yeah, I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty sweet.
Yeah, this is the game brought to you by somebody that looks at Mass Effect fan art.
Yep. So we may get a look. Rumors are out right now that like sometime between January 15th and January 24th or January 20th, the 14th through the 20th, Microsoft's going to do their January showcase like they did last year. Which gets me excited, not so much because it's Microsoft, but because we might get to see some of those third-party games that we've been waiting to see a release date or some gameplay or something on that. So that's something. If it's true, definitely keep you posted on it of when they're going to show that. So I'm super excited. Anytime you get to see new games, it's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't really have anything closing. Are there any questions from chat? Do you guys have anything that you want us to talk about? Any questions for us or topics that we may not have talked about or glossed over or missed today that you guys want us to talk about a little bit further?
They're all AI generated. So
our chat members are AI generated?
Yeah, they're AI generated.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Cass, I didn't try to ignore you, but I didn't realize that I had the Twitch chat. I think from now on, going forward, I'm gonna read the YouTube chat and you can take Twitch chat. Twit.
You take the Twitch chat. Okay, that's fine.
Just twit.
That's fine.
I think that might be the better route to go. So then that way we can.
We need to. Yeah. Well. Yeah, that'd be good because I know Jackie mods the YouTube while you're going, so we should probably have a mod over there. So
now that we're dual streaming to both Twitch and YouTube, by the way, at the exact same time, so you can catch it on either or. I need to try to do a better job making sure that we're paying attention to that kind of stuff as well. Twitch twat, yeah, Twitch twat. At Legendary Drops, thoughts on games staying early access development for prolonged periods of time on Steam instead of releasing and updating. A la Zomboid, Beam NG. I don't know what that one is. Valheim, Last Epoch, etc.
Okay, so good examples of long early access. I would say Last Epoch, Baldur's Gate 3, and then you're going to have your negative ones that are games that generally will never come out of early access. They just won't.
Yeah. So here's the thing. My thoughts on that. As long as the company is regularly updating, which for Valheim, I think Valheim's stayed relatively consistent with its updates.
Yeah. What's the other one that we play, the vampire game? It's
V Rising.
V Rising. Yeah.
V Rising is another one. Yeah. Last Epoch obviously has gotten regular updates. Me and my AIGF will be playing Baldur's Gate 3 later. Good for you.
Just don't play it on Xbox. I'm just saying you're gonna.
And Baldur's Gate 3 was in early access for 3 years. Personally, I think it's something that needs to be limited to probably AA or independent studios. I wouldn't want to see like a AAA studio going, "Hey, we're putting out, this game. We're putting out Call of Duty in early access for 3 years."
That's all their games.
That's actually what Blizzard already does anyway.
All of their games are in early access.
They just don't call it early access, right? So, with that said, I think it's was Baldur's Gate 3 early access extended due to COVID? No, I think maybe a half of a year or a year potentially, but if that would be the case, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was delayed. I think it just took that long to make it.
Yeah.
I think early access is a great way for developers to be able to not only market their product, but also get the support necessary to be able to get that product finished in the first place. Otherwise, on the flip side, you look at it and say, well, they have to get the money from somewhere, which means that they're going to get it from publishers, and publishers have
timelines.
Expectations. They also have boards and investors that are going to require different things and different rules and things like that set for the game as well. The list goes on and on and on. And some games still have demos on Steam, just not on console as much anymore.
I wish AAAs would go back to putting out demos. I really do.
Sick. Yeah, but the problem is they know that it's not going to work that way. It depends on how developers use the early access. If they go the Larian route and actually use the money to improve the game and get feedback from the community, then obviously it's going to be a good game. Yeah, that's basically exactly how that works. I think Last Epoch's very much done the exact same thing as well.
Yeah.
The game is vastly improved since I first downloaded it on early access. Valheim, I think, has improved relatively well. I think Valheim also... Personally, I actually think Valheim's taking too long.
Aren't they like a super small group, though?
Yeah, I think it's only one guy.
Well, I mean...
He needs to get to work.
You're like, dude, are you eating right now? Put it down and get back to work.
You can do both at the same time. You just saw me eat peanuts. Oh man. Isn't DayZ still but there's the problem. There are going to be some companies that are going to go out of their way to make sure that they are abusing that system, either because they're not inherently good with investing their money appropriately, getting the right assets to be able to make sure that their products are being completed or their projects are being completed. I think it depends very heavily on how the companies actually handle it. I love early access personally.
Oh shit, there is something I want to talk about. So like with DayZ or games like that just stay in early access, I think a lot of it has to do with them not having the ability to fix the jank in the game. And if you leave it in early access, you can still say it's early access. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
You don't have to. You've got that wall of security to say, well, it is in early access. It's not a full release game. You know what I mean? So I think there is a little bit of that. But what I wanted to bring up, and it kind of ties kind of the same with that, is so an Overwatch 2 developer came out after Bobby Kotick left and basically aired the dirt on Overwatch 2 being released to Steam. Okay. They basically wanted I don't want to misquote them. Let me pull this back up. Basically, they wanted like some discussion, a game plan, all kinds of things, because they knew in advance that they were going to get review bombed on Steam.
Okay.
So, why did they know that they were going to get review bombed on Steam for Overwatch 2?
Because the community doesn't like the game.
So what it brings up is they know if they left it in Blizzard's app that they don't have fucking comment sections and ratings, so everything's honky-dory. The game looks marketing-wise like people are playing it until you put it over to Steam and you get to hear what the community thinks about the game. You can sit there and say that, there's people on Twitter or whatever, that's just social media trying to do whatever. But when you have people who have purchased the game or have played the game, they've got time in the game, and they leave you a negative, it gave all the people that were in the Blizzard app over on Steam a chance to voice to the deal. To the developers. I just don't think, I think that's kind of like, I don't know. I look at it, it's kind of like shitty that they wanted all this like stuff beforehand. And of course, Bobby Kotick was like, no, we're good. Let's go ahead and put it on Steam. Right.
They're just looking to capture as much revenue as possible. Right. So he didn't really care. He didn't really care about what anybody said. Like, oh yeah, we're going to get bad publicity over this. It doesn't really matter to them. Right. He's not going to care because he knows that at the end of the day, having it on Steam, they're still going to capture some more microtransactions. They're still going to capture a little bit of money regardless. They don't really care about, I mean, like there goes your cameras all over the place today. He never really cared about the company's public image. He just cared about the money, which is pretty obvious. That's how he ran the company. Which, I mean, to each their own. I mean, you're completely allowed to do that, and you can still be successful doing it. It doesn't always mean that you're going to be successful, but in the case of Blizzard, they did stay successful. So, but it is interesting because people are like, oh well, it's review bombing. It's not. I mean, technically it is in that situation, but it was kind of unprompted view bombing. It was just people were ready. Yep. Specifically, people were ready to go out and actually be able to give a fair account of what they believe about the game that wasn't on Metacritic.
Yeah, players, God, what BattleNet? They don't have that voice on BattleNet, and there's nothing to be seen there. And, there's people who like love Overwatch, and people still do love Overwatch. Yeah, but they didn't have like a place where all of them can get together and show their disappointment in the game. And
same thing goes for Starfield.
Yeah, same thing goes for Starfield.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was like, because what he says is when we planned OW2's Steam launch, my team warned months in advance that we were going to get review bombed. Months in advance that they were going to get review bombed. And that's not just people coming and just going, yep, the game sucks, whatever. Well, they knew that they were unhappy.
The problem is that when they say things like that, they make it sound like it's a premeditated effort to try to take down.
Yeah.
Try to take down Overwatch. It's not a premeditated effort. This isn't like it's not like you just got a fucking bomb threat. Okay. Yeah. What this is that you are running into something that you asked for. You canceled content that was the whole reason that you made Overwatch free to pay or free to play in the first place. Even though it is free to pay.
Free to pay. It is free to pay.
You are free to pay. Yeah. So, like everything you get for that game is 100% deserving. So, but making it sound like this is some type of premeditated attack on the game is just so goofy. Oh, we were notified months beforehand that we were going to get review bombed. You were notified months beforehand? How about you were notified when you released Overwatch 2? But the problem is that players don't have a voice on Battle.net. Players only have a voice on Metacritic, OpenCritic, and Steam. Because most sales platforms that people use for video games, Steam, the Epic Store, Battle.net, Xbox, Nintendo's Marketplace, the PlayStation Store, most of those don't have a public forum for people to be able to voice their concerns about a game or let other consumers know what the general opinion is on that title before they make that purchase. Not everybody goes and looks at user reviews on Metacritic or on OpenCritic, nor would I actually suggest that people should do that in the first place, because many of the people that do that are leaving bullshit replies to begin with. And if they are giving it 0 out of 10, it's because, woke game. Okay, well, I need an actual review, dog. What does that even mean in the first place? You know what I mean? Where at least with Steam, you actually have to invest to be able to leave that review in the first place. Yeah. With most games, obviously Overwatch is a different scenario because it's free to play, but yeah, you get me.
Yeah, and with Metacritic, I mean, OpenCritic would be a little bit better, but Metacritic, and I'm not saying there's any sort of biasness, but I do believe people are, they're biased to what their fan base is. Does that make sense? I mean, whoever reads their articles or their websites, they're going to give a review that might fit that narrative. So I don't really trust Metacritic at all. I just don't. The media's lost.
So I'm gonna put a poll up over on YouTube right now. Okay, simple, real simple question. I saw somebody say it in chat, so I'm just gonna put the poll up. I'm asking if people generally trust the review scores that they see on Steam and whether or not they let that dictate the purchases that they make. I'm going to come out and say, in a full, wholehearted confession, I trust it 100% every single time.
Yeah.
Every time.
If
it
never
says
bought
mixed, negative, mostly negative, I'm like, nah.
Yep. Not touching it. Yep.
Not touching it.
I've done it before. I bought a mixed game and it was bad.
Mixed.
Yep.
And it was mixed.
It was bad.
Yeah. However, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have never bought a game that had mostly positive reviews that I wasn't happy with, that did not meet my expectations. Not a single time. The only time I think that I ever have is when I bought Outward. And that was just because I didn't know how the multiplayer was all fucking janky and shit.
Yeah. That was a slap on the hand.
PP.
I was gonna say it, but
you gonna say PP?
I was gonna say piss.
Yeah, piss. You could say that.
But yeah, it just annoys me. And then of course the dude he goes on to basically say that Bobby Kotick's philosophy was shit rolls downhill. So if you have any bad whatever, shit rolls. Usually the lowest paid and most overworked individuals. And management was too busy reacting to wildly whatever. It just goes into all this other baloney. But I just like that thought of knowing that you did bad and you don't want to put it somewhere because you're afraid of having a mostly negative deal. It's you didn't get review bombed.
You got reviewed.
You just bombed on your review.
No,
that's all it boils down.
Yeah, you just got reviewed.
You bombed on your review.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Many people know this. I'm a common Asmongold viewer, right? So I was watching him earlier today, and there's like this weird drama that's going on in like the anime community where like localizers in the like Western localizers in the US are like adopting these, just filling in whatever they want on some of these animes. Even though I'll give you an example line. There's Dragon Maid anime. There's a girl, she comes in, they're like, oh, you changed clothes. And like in the original anime, she was just like, yeah, the clothes were just a little bit like left her. It was too exposing is what she said. Yeah. And she put on some different clothes because it felt more comfortable. In the Western translation, it's, oh yeah, I didn't feel like standing up, or I felt like standing up to the patriarchal society.
Oh my God.
Right. It's just like way off, way off. Like, and the thing is that the localizer, commented on it, and she's all about fighting with these people on Twitter and stuff like that. Well, she made a video today or yesterday or something like that, responding to Asmongold's criticism, even though it's really not even his criticism. It's just the general online community, Japanese people, American people alike that are having this conversation. Even the Japanese, even the company wasn't happy with what they found also. But the thing is that most of these people, these Western translators or localizers, don't have to worry about anything because the Japanese people aren't watching their dubs to begin with.
Yeah.
They're watching it in their home country when it airs, and that's it. They're not watching what the localized version looks like or sounds like or what the lines are or anything like that. They don't care about any of that stuff, at least until they find out that you're misrepresenting their product. You know what I mean? And so she made a little TikTok, thought she was gonna do a little mic drop on Asmongold, and I watched it. I watched the TikTok, and I've never seen somebody that has been just that entitled. It's so disgusting. It's somebody that obviously has never been approached or really criticized for something that they've done in the past. Obviously, because many people fear criticizing them in the first place because they're afraid of getting, I don't know, canceled or some other whatever shit. Who gives a shit?
Gaslit.
It's not gaslighting. It's just, I'm not afraid, Mark. I'm not afraid of you criticizing me because you can't do anything to me. Because if you're going to say something, well, then you're going to say something about me personally, and then I'll attack you back, and you'll get canceled by society because, you know, I'm in a position in which I can afford to do something like that. But the thing is that she like completely misrepresented the issue, and then she said there's allegations against me, is what this lady said. This is the exact same thing like what you're talking about with the review bombing, right? Yep. Saying it's a review bomb sounds like it's something that wasn't. You're
a victim.
It makes exactly. It's a victim mentality, which is the same thing that this chick did, where she's like, oh well, you know. There's allegations. No, it's not allegations. It's on the screen.
Yeah,
you are the localizer. You said that you did this. This is your writing. You know, this is you. What do you mean allegation? There's no allegations here, woman. It's on the screen. What are you talking about?
You done it.
You did it. There's no allegations. This isn't a court case. No, you just did a bad job, and people said, hey, stop doing a bad job. And then you just said, no, you're telling me that I did a bad job because you hate women. And it's like, what are you talking about? Bro, like, what is wrong with people? I'm sorry, man. Like, I'll be honest with you, chat. The reason why I don't really get into these kind of conversations, I don't talk about this kind of stuff on stream and all that kind of stuff, is because I'm going to be real with you. Personally, I just can't understand stupid people. So I have a really hard time trying to understand where her fucking brain is at. What she's thinking about to bring her to this conclusion, to live this kind of life, to have these kind of discussions. I have no idea, because it's just not it. From my mind, I'm too my mind's apparently too balanced to be able to be a part of this in this kind of discourse.
Let's just go back to the anime part of it, okay? Character shows up in outfit, changes outfit, says changes outfit for this reason. But why would you ever wear the outfit in the first place? It doesn't add up, right? It doesn't add up with what her little tie-in is. I'll leave it there. Of her verbiage of why she changed outfits. Oh, then why'd you show up in the outfit?
It's also there's a whole lot of nuances that would completely not make sense because of that conversation in the first place. Because the character themselves is a god. The character themselves is a god, which therefore they would be above the quabblings of a society of men anyway. It doesn't even make any sense.
Like, my blood pressure is going up.
She's a narcissist. Save your nerves. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Like, I can't wrap my head around that kind of stuff, man. So I don't really comment on that too much. Same thing goes for like politics and stuff like that. Yep. I just personally
watching the news.
It just never interests me because it's fucking stupid. It's just dumb. It's a waste of time and energy. It's a waste of life to live. Simple as that. Breathe. Exactly. Meditate. Chat, meditate with me right now. I want you all to breathe. I want you guys all to close your eyes.
Paint a happy little
I want you guys to breathe in and then breathe out. And then breathe in and then breathe out.
Are you gonna start doing some
yeah. Are you guys ready for some
ASMR?
ASMR right now?
Oh my god!
Do you know when I first saw that come up, I thought that meant asthma, and I'm like, what the fuck is asthma?
Stop.
I didn't know they were just letters. I thought it was a word, and I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, which to be honest, at the same time, and then initially it made sense to me because I think like some girl had like a microphone to her butt, and I was like,
just dragging it across, just
asthma.
Oh shit! Oh man!
Oh man! Way too much fun. Way too much fun. It's something. It's something. 8. I don't know what it is, but it's something that people like apparently.
I'm 100%. It is. It is simulated that for like 14-year-old boys.
I'm gonna take a wild guess. I'm gonna say like seeing how much money gets donated to them and how many subscribers they have, it ain't 14-year-old boys watching that.
No, it's not, but it's Man.
So I mean, like, how much money could I make?
That's what I'm sitting here thinking. I'm just like
my ass across the microphone. Just
let's do this. Just flop it on, just pull it off. Like I gotta get my only feats going, man.
Yeah. I don't know about that. You got ugly ass feet, dog.
Hey, there's probably an audience.
There's a market.
There's a market
for
I guarantee you fucking construction workers are like, them some good paint chippers. Yeah. They want it.
Yeah. Oh man. Hot tub chat. Oh dude. What do you guys think about Just Gaming podcast from the hot tub?
I'm gonna post a picture in the Discord.
In the pool.
In the Discord.
In the pool. Mark could technically stream from the pool if you wanted to.
I have answered Ian's like a FaceTime or talked to him on the phone while I'm in the bathtub, and then I'll send him a picture of me in the bathtub.
He did do that to me. He did. He did do that to me. I was like, what the fuck is this? I remember like I was like, hey dude, you want to I'm like I like texted him like, hey man, you want to play some games? And he just like texted me like a picture of like himself in the bathtub. And I'm like, he's like, I'm in the bath right now, and I'm like, bro. Okay. It was so out of pocket.
So good.
It was so out of pocket. Oh man. Linus Tech Tips already did that. They made a pool with access to a computer and a TV. That's really cool. I also saw there's a dude that made like a gaming boat. It was actually kind of cool. He's busy. Yeah. I saw somebody made like a bass boat, like a fishing bass boat, and made it like a gaming rig.
Really?
So they could fish for bass and play games at the same time and stream.
That doesn't sound safe.
No, but it sounds great.
Yeah.
It just still sounds great. Yeah.
They can't make. I told you, I'm going to post it in Discord. So if you aren't in the Discord, I still have that picture. I will post it in Discord.
Can we make an NSFW section?
No,
please?
it is. No, it is. The bubbles are in the right place. It's very tasteful. Okay, it's very tasteful.
You're the only one that thinks this is art.
Hey, I generate that shit. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think you probably break the algorithm on that one.
I don't think so.
You might break the algorithm on that. That's funny.
Yeah, so if you haven't joined the Discord, join up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. If you guys aren't in the Discord, make sure that you are. I didn't put a reminder in there today. I should have did that actually. Now that I think about it. What's going on for next week?
Oh,
do you return to it? Do you return to like a normal schedule at any point?
So I will be going in at 2 a.m. from this point forward.
Yeah.
And until probably after February.
I almost just swallowed a peanut. Almost died on stream.
But yeah, so it'll be I should be able to, if you're on during the day, be able to get on with you for a while. I just worked like 14s all week, so I just came home, bathed, and just went to bed. I didn't even.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Mess around.
Yeah, I've been there. I know what that employed life is like.
It sucks.
I've been there.
It sucks.
I can't believe it's like I can't believe
I've been there once.
I can't believe I've already been unemployed for a month. Almost. I think I got like in a couple days. It's weird.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I guess so. Something like that.
Yeah.
I got an air fryer.
Did you? What was the first thing you air fried?
My cat. No, I did chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggies?
Yeah, I did nuggies. I did fries.
I did cinnamon rolls this morning.
I'm part of the cult now, dude. I actually saw Josh Strife Hayes made a video recently. I don't know if you know who he is. He's one of my biggest inspirations.
Oh yeah?
No, genuinely, he is one of my biggest inspirations. His content's always his commentary is like top tier. But Josh made a video that was like, I recently joined a cult, and I clicked it, and I'm like, I guarantee this dude's gonna say he bought an air fryer, and he's like, recently I bought an air fryer.
Oh, hold on, I gotta explain this to Jackie. Jackie,
oh, what?
Parchment paper down in the deal, 325. Put your cinnamon rolls in there. Don't preheat it. Stick it in there. 9 minutes. Flip them. Another 8 minutes. You're good to go. Golden.
Yeah, actually, my mom made me air fryer cinnamon rolls too. Now that I think about it, I honestly think I'm probably just gonna air fry everything for the rest of my life.
Oh, dude, like my wife who never cooks.
So you're always gonna be holding a mug in view. I really feel like I should. I mean, I drink my water a lot on stream, and usually at the beginning of podcasts, I have a cup of coffee. I don't do tea though.
I do. That's what I'm drinking is tea.
Do you?
Yeah, I drink a tea every weekend during the podcast.
Oh,
I'm drinking a sweet Texas chai right now.
Texas chai.
Yeah, Texas chai. It tastes like Christmas in a cup.
Does it?
Yeah.
Out of season.
Out of season. It's always in season. Chai is always in season. Always.
Okay, I believe you. Yeah, no, I've been loving it though. So anyway, guys, that's 2.5 hours of podcasting. It has been an absolutely fantastic evening, my friends. I have enjoyed this show thoroughly. I've also actually really enjoyed this last half. We need to do this more often.
Yeah, I like it.
I like doing the more official stuff, you know what I mean, at the beginning. High value content, you know, we're talking about news, we're talking about games, we're talking about the real stuff. But I do actually like the sections at the back end where we start just kind of kicking it.
Well, I'm going to start adding that and looking for every week because there's usually always an article that of something that just pisses me off, like the Overwatch 2 thing. So we can start adding some more stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we just need to have just general conversations. There's just tons of stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? Just life.
You got a doctor's appointment in 5 hours. You only need 4 hours of sleep, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, where's the dedication?
8.5 hours to go. Well, you can just go watch some streams, Tamaki. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got, man. Today was a great show. I thank everybody for showing up. Thank everybody for hanging out. If you guys are checking the VOD, we love you just the same. If you get the chance to actually come by one of the live streams, make sure that you do. Again, every Sunday, 2:30 p.m. PST, right here on YouTube and on Twitch now. Haha. Both at the same time. We call that skiing. Spit roasting. Anyway. You guys.
Oh my God. Oh, it hurts. Oh, that fucking hurts. Oh, shit.
Anyway.
Oh, God damn.
I shouldn't have said.
You shouldn't have said that. No. You need to end the video just so it doesn't hit the
All
deal.
right. Have a good night, guys. Love you. Catch you next time.
Jesus Christ.
From both ends.